that's so exciting, and it's so amazingly attractive.
Yeah, you're not laughing now, are you?
All right then. No, you're not in focus now. You're not zoomed in. Why am I still so small? Feels like I'm miles away. What a stream. Yesterday, I couldn't even. I've got to comb my hair. I can't do it. I know you can't see it, but I can't do it. I'll be about 20 seconds. I know I'm late anyway. There you go. Absolutely no difference, and that's how I like it. Clean my glasses. How are you, people? Friday. I promised myself earlier. I said to myself, I had a Khmer lesson tonight. I said to myself, if the Khmer lesson goes well and my studying has paid off, I'll do a stream. That was my plan. And the lesson was fucking terrible. Excuse me, I've got some kind of groove. I'm in some kind of groove. Let's get some hellos out of the way, because there's plenty of you here, which is nice to see on a Friday afternoon. Friday afternoon where you are, it's nearly midnight here. Absolute pleasure. Thanks for turning up yesterday, regulars. We had 390 concurrently at best yesterday, which was good. People are interested in that. Good to talk to Gavin. Good to do a lot of listening yesterday. I decided not to talk as much as I usually do, and because when there's three of you, and also, and this is more of praise to Horace and Gavin. We kept the subject, which is a really complicated subject anyway. We stayed on it. We didn't, which is all right as well. There's a place for that. But when you're talking about something important, when you're talking about something complicated, when you're talking about something that makes people feel and can be quite a negative area, let's stick to it. Let's stay with it. And from the beginning of the stream to the end of the stream, we were still talking about Gavin Bobby's idea of the globalist project essentially failing and sort of just failing, and the disappearance of the state. And I think what Horace brought up was really, really interesting. From a cultural point of view, if we think of marketing, this is why I found it interesting. And I mentioned it briefly, but in regards to what I just said about taking the subject away from the subject, the people can't conceive of there not being a state. Like, I'll give you an example. This is a call-in, by the way. Like this morning, I thought, hang on a minute, though. If you've got no state, how are you going to get parts of your computer? Now, that might sound stupid, but say there's better technology, right? Who's gonna trade with England? Who's gonna look after the airports? Who's gonna actually bring stuff into a country that has no government, that is loads of little tribes with their own police forces, their own laws? I thought, who'd do that? And that's because I can't conceive of life without a state, because all my life I've been, that message of there must be governance has been repeated. It's on money. This isn't like, oh, look at the dollar, it's got the all-seeing eye on the pyramid. No, but, just the sense of the cashier of the Bank of London promises to pay the bearer. I mean, originally, you apparently, I don't know if anyone ever done it, you could take that when it wasn't a fiat, when money was based on the gold, they'd have the amount of money that they had in gold, and that was a token of how much gold. Like, so if you took a £20 note to the Bank of England, I want to cash this in for my gold. But also the Houses of Parliament, that sort of spectacular bastion of governance. What a building on the river in the capital. And just just all the things we, you know, it's almost impossible, to consider life, to consider a nation without a state. And like my first thought there, you know, what are we all going to be sitting around on computers at like 20 years old? But then I thought, hang on a minute. If I'm a businessman in America, and I know that England has had some kind of strange globalist collapse, and they're just forming tribes, which is already happening to an extent. You know, we know there's no cultural melting pot. That isn't what humans do, and that's fine. You know, no one does that. You can do it temporarily, you can do it occasionally. You know, I live out here, so, you know, but I haven't lived out here all my life. And then I thought, if I was a businessman in America and I knew about that, I'd think, well, hang on a minute. I can get, 200 computers, top spec, stick them in the back of a plane, fly up, you know, communicate with people in England. That wouldn't be difficult. You could have telephones. Well, you'd have telephones, you know. And you wouldn't have to pay any import duty. You wouldn't have to deal with customs. You can arrange to meet him on a strip of land, you know. He doesn't have to come over in like a big jet, a big jumbo jet, a DC-10. You know, you could just come over in a little plane. And you just come in, you arrange to meet your people, and you trade with them. Yeah, all right, yeah, that's how much they are. No import duty, no customs taxes, cash, lovely. Interesting. And even when I thought that, I thought, this is ridiculous, though. Well, is it really? Do you really need the state in the way? And then, of course, the next thing I was thinking about was policing. And Gavin was talking about the first thing that these communities have to do is establish a law. And policing and law are very different things. Would you really miss the police? I mean, I'm not sure. I don't see any police out here. You don't see them. If there's some kind of event, you'll see like the riot police with like their hats and their guns and their, you know, and everyone loves them. You know, I said to my missus once, look at them. And she went, yeah, good. And I thought, okay, it's a different outlook. But they're not going to protect you. They're going to arrest you for making someone on the internet anxious. So I'm going to look into that. I'm going to look into the cultural, essentially propaganda that has statified our imagination. You know, something somewhere that along the way on the epistem, something made us feel the need for governance. You know, never have I heard anyone say, never's probably a bit extreme. I can't recall it if it's happened. No one, you know, I've heard the occasional anarchist, obviously, but it's not like we should get rid of them all. It's like, well, you know, is it going to be the Tories? Is it going to be the Liberals? Just get rid of them. And it's not even getting rid of them. Gavin's thing isn't getting rid of them. Gavin's thing is that they just won't be able to govern. They won't be fit for purpose because there'll be nothing. People will just stop giving them taxes because why are you going to give the government money for a police force that doesn't work, that runs away from gangs in London? Why are you paying for that police force when you can pay for a private one that's part of your community, whose family and friends are part of your community? I mean, you know, Marx talks about alienation from labour, and it makes sense. If you're building your own house, you're laying bricks, you're doing dry lining, you got your best mate doing the electrics or whatever. It's going to be an amazing house because that's you and your family's house. Yeah, it's going to take a bit longer, but that's all right. You're going to put real time into it. You're going to have it exactly how you want it. And you're going to think, yeah, that's going to take a few more days to do it like that. But that's going to last 20 years as opposed to 3 years and need replacing. Now, the difference between building your own house or a group of you building your house, but the same group then builds someone else in that group's house. The difference between that and just going and building some random housing estate of people you will never meet, where you, and I know people who work on site, they do as little as possible. They get away with it, you know, they do as little as possible and they knock those houses up as pieces of shit. I remember they built an estate in Dartford and one of my mates worked on it. And I said to him, I said, it looks like a toy town. He said, well, it is. He said, the wood on the stairs, he said to me, if you spill a pint of water on those stairs, that 3-ply wood they've got, he said, it will start warping over time. And then eventually it will just go through. He said, you know, for stairs, you need a nice solid bit of wood. He said, it'll be all right for a couple of years. But, and this is what happens to cheap housing estates. Very quickly, they start falling apart. I had a mate who lived in Dartford with me when I was very young. You know, we were best mates, you know, always together. We dug a tunnel under a footpath in Dartford that eventually collapsed. Yay! And I remember his dad was a plasterer, and he said to me, he said, I'm moving, we're leaving. Now, they were poor, right? They were like us. They were working class people from East Dartford. They lived in like it was a weird, like 3 up, 1 down sort of job. It was odd. You know, the back garden went down a hill. It was a really odd house. But, you know, you went in there, it was tatty. There was a mess everywhere. You know, not dirty, not festering, not squalor, but just your typical working class. We ain't got a lot of money and or the hope and the faith to make our living place nice. You know, they weren't going to be having any dinner parties or anything like that. And when he told me he was leaving Dartford, I was gutted. You know, remember when you're that age, you know, about 10, I think, and your best mate's like, I'm leaving. You're like, how far away is it? And he was like, oh, it's a couple of hours in a car. And I remember waiting up at night and thinking, I wonder if I can get my mum to drive me up to his new place. All this, right? And then about 3 months later, he said, do you want to come up? Really low down here. I've got to get this Zoom false. I don't like being like this. About 3 months later, he rang me up. You know, remember old telephones where you phoned people and and he said, do you want to come and stay for a couple of nights at the new house? And it was in a place called ODYSEE. Now, ODYSEE has got some shitty areas, but he gave my mum directions. His mum gave my mum directions. And we've driven up there. As we've arrived there, why have they... Sorry, people, they've changed this. The super chats, I haven't had any, but they should start automatically. But there used to be a bit at the top that showed you that. I don't know why they keep changing these things. It's very frustrating. We drove up there, and as we were approaching his area, my mum was like, well, it's around here somewhere. All I could see was like these fully detached properties, you know, like big houses with gardens all around them. You know, it looked like Ramsay Street in Neighbours, but better, not even side by side. Like one house was sort of here, another house faced a slightly different direction. You know, there was a road. It was a cul-de-sac, so the road sort of went down. There was a little turning bit at the end, but there was no cars on the street because they were all in their garages, right? And I remember even at 10 thinking, you know, maybe they won the pools. Like the pools then was like the lottery now. You done the pools. You used to have the bloke come round and your mum would give him like £1.50 or something a month, and he'd come round and go, nah. And the pools, listen how boring this is. The pools, you had to guess the games of football. Correct me in the chat if I'm wrong here, because I was very young, but if I remember rightly, you had to get the draws and the no score draws in the football correct. So you'd be like, oh, okay, Leyton Orient playing Man U is going to be a no score draw. Yeah, Spot the Ball was another one. That came with the pools booklet, didn't it? So when you got your little pools booklet every month, there'd be a photo on the back of it, on the back inside cover, of like 3 or 4 footballers and a goal, and they'd all be going, like, jumping up for a header, or one of them, like, and the goalie would be like, but there'd be no ball. And you'd have to put a cross where you thought it was. And I think you could pay to have more crosses, you know, and you couldn't just do a massive cross, because it was the center of your cross that counted. So I Spot the Ball and no score draws. And when they used to do the football results, it's so boring. You know, it's Saturday afternoon, it's pissing down outside, you know, you're not at school. And then they go, and now it's the football results. And they'd start off with like the Ryman's, you know, Sunday League. And you'll think, okay, this is 2 or 3 hours now. And it really would be. It'd be the Scottish Premier League, and it'd be a daisy wheel printer, which is basically a tiny little ball covered in letters that would sort of spin and be hammered against the paper. They'd be writing it live, and the camera would show you that. So there'd be a bit of paper. No shit. I'm going to show you. I want you to see the world that a lot of scrubs grew up in. Hang on. Football results 1970s. That should do it. Oh, that's not the really early one. Oh, they've actually got computers here. Well, maybe there's no footage of it because there weren't enough cameras around. But good Lord, it would go on for about 4 hours. I mean, this looks very boring, but this isn't as bad as... Anyway, I can't find... If anyone can find the actual one where they're writing it live, and it would go on for hours. Anyway, nice one, Anglo, because that's also showed me that they are automatically getting starred. Thank you, mate. Much appreciated. And I also want to thank... I've got like 5 people who... I'm going to finish off talking about that, but I've got 5 people who donate to me on SubscribeStar. And because I took my girlfriend on holiday, when I was on holiday, I thought, right, I'm not going to think about money. I'm just going to show her a good time. When Hugh come out of us, I picked up the tab for the whole night, all the drinks, all the food. And Hugh can drink and eat. And obviously that screwed me a bit for the last few months. And I suddenly thought, hang on, I'll have a look in my my SubscribeStar. And there was like 700 quid in there. And that would have taken sort of like 8 months to make that. And I was over the moon. So thank you if you're one of my 5 SubscribeStar supporters, link in the description. Thank you very much, because you got me out of trouble. I would have had now. So I would have had to have got an overdraft or something. And yeah. Anyway, so we've got to his house, right? And my mum has just dropped me off. She said hello to his mum. They weren't like good friends or anything. They knew each other, but she didn't stay. My mum's driven off. And he went, come in. First thing, utility room. Never seen one of them before. I'd never seen a utility room. Because he's showing me around his house, because he lived in an house like I lived in. And he went, look, this is a utility room. Washing machine, tumble dryer. Like my mother at the time had one of those twin tub machines that just used to and like half a bath of water in it. you know, and shoes and dirty football boots. And it was like, wow, and a mop, a utility room. The house was massive. It had about 6 bedrooms. There was only him and his sister. His sister used to watch his channel occasionally. He's popped in here. And the garden was huge. And I remember saying, where did you get the money? By this time I was like 11. And I was like, how did you afford this? And he explained to me, which basically I now know, is it was a collective. What they done was they got a couple of plasterers, they got a few bricklayers, they got a few sparks, they got a few chippies, they got a few this, they got a few that, they blah, blah, blah. They all put a load of money in, spread over a couple of years. They bought this bit of land and they built a road. And because they put all the labour in themselves, they didn't have to pay any labour costs for any of the houses. Because if you're the plasterer, you plaster your house, but you also plaster everyone else's house. And it was all worked out on hours and all that sort of thing. You can always chip in to, because this is what I heard from his dad about 10 years later when I got the full story off him. He said it was balanced out because, you know, if you're a bricklayer and you're building like 20 houses, you're doing a fair amount more work than, say, I don't want to piss off Mr. Minute here, say the flooring. But whatever. But you can balance it out with labouring. You can balance it out with digging footings. Do you know what I mean? And so there was no labour costs. And because there was no labour costs, add to that, you know, if you're buying a lot of bricks to build one house, they're going to cost you X pound for X amount of bricks, for Y amount of bricks. But if you're going to be buying bricks for 20 houses, you're getting trade discount. Same with this, same with that, same with this, same with that. His dad told me that house cost them 1/3 of the market value of when it was made. And I'll tell you what, that house now, I reckon, is probably going to cost you a couple of mil. And that house they sold in Dartford, they got about 60 grand for it. So they went from a 60 grand hovel into a wonderful mansion through just collectivizing. And I remember crying the night I had to leave because loads of other people had done it in the area. And what they'd done, they'd been clever and they'd made loads of youth clubs and they'd made a BMX track because BMXs were quite a thing then. This is about 80, 82, 83. And so there was loads for all the kids to do. There was really good places. And imagine there was loads of girls. And I stayed there for like 4 days, I think I stayed there. I arrived Thursday, I think I left on Sunday. But, you know, in the morning, the first night I arrived after he'd shown me around his mansion that I just couldn't believe, he had an ensuite bedroom. They had an outside toilet in the house they left in Dartford. He had a toilet in his bedroom, my mate. I was like, want a shower? Oh, no, you're all right. He said, come on, let's go out. He goes, we'll go down the pit. And we've gone down to this pit, and it's a pit, and it had an adventure playground, you know, the wicked ones with all the big things and the death slide and the tyres on ropes, not a couple of swings and a poxy roundabout. And there was about 40 kids there. And because there were 40 kids there, they were safe. It was all very well planned. It was amazing. And when it got to the last night, I was in one of the spare rooms because, you know, mum and dad slept in one room, him and his sister. And I remember just crying, thinking, this is fucking paradise. What am I going to do when I get home? I mean, I had mates and that, but it was nothing like that. It just seemed remarkable. So I was thinking about that kind of thing anyway. Right. I would say some hellos, but we're over the 100 mark now anyway. So I want to show you a couple of videos. We are going to watch the Trump campaign video again. Here's why. Loads of people have questioned me saying it's not an official Trump campaign video. It is. It is. Let me show you. Damn, I haven't got this link sorted out. Let me just show you this. 1 second. We're going to talk about Sadiq Khan and what a load of nonsense. It's too much, isn't it, man? I've just got to find this, but I've got too many accounts. I don't know where it's going to be. Oh, here we go. Here we go. So let's just have a little look at this. What's interesting, this is CNN. I'm sorry about doing this to you. But what they can't play long clips of the video. Actually, let's watch the video first to give it a bit of context, because then it's more interesting. Hello, Robin Wheeler in the chat there. I just saw you before my folders came up on the screen. Hang on, people. Let me just stop that right there. Right, nice to see you, Robin. Nice to see all of you. Right, that doesn't take anything away from seeing you, though, Robin. Right, so this is an official Trump 2024 campaign video. If you didn't see it yesterday, it's something else, man. I have been interested in American politics and politics really in general since about Ronald Reagan, and I loved Ronald Reagan. And I've seen nothing like this. Now, maybe things like this happen in other countries. There was things a little bit like this when I was in Venezuela, when just after Chavez took power, but nothing like this. It's 1 minute 42. So we'll have a look at the video first, and then I'll show you the crappy CNN. Oh, how do I find this? Right, hopefully you've got audio. I'll mute myself. Let me know you've got audio, though, yeah? You know how it works around here by now. Check this out. All right, trust me, people. I'll prove it afterwards. This is an official Trump campaign advert. And I'll tell you what, from a marketing point of view, it's fucking brilliant. Check it.
If I was the deep state and I wanted to destroy America, I would rig the election with a puppet candidate. One that was so compromised that they would never say a word about it. I would create a false flag that allows for mail-in ballots. I would be in charge of the ballot counting machines. I would create a false flag to blame all who question the results of the election. If I was the deep state, I would prosecute anyone that went against me. I would sue and prosecute anyone that spoke up about the fraudulent election. I would use my powers to shut down all your internet businesses and bankrupt you. If I was the deep state, I would make everyone an example why you should never question a Democrat ever winning an election. I would imprison my foes. I would use my corrupt DAs and blackmail judges to destroy you. I would make sure all crimes I ever committed never happened. I would prosecute my biggest competition. I would make sure they could never run for office ever again. If I was the deep state, I would convince everyone that Ukraine Nazis were good and women are men. If I was the deep state, I would own every politician that mattered. If I was the deep state, I would push my pedophilia ambitions on you. If I was the deep state, you'd question your sexual identity but not the medical establishment. If I was the deep state, you would fear to ever resist me. If I was the deep state, you would wish I was really the devil. If I was the deep state, I would say mission accomplished.
I mean, it's propaganda, of course it is, and it's fantastic. It just it presses the buttons that get people who ain't going to get off their asses to vote, to get off their asses and vote. It's an incredible bit of filmmaking. It's an incredible bit of branding. Why? Because it distinguishes Trump from everyone else, not just the deep state bit, because other politicians don't make stuff like that. It makes him the outlier he is. You know, rather than that being seen as a negative, they've upped that, they've ramped that up. It's an incredible, you know, regardless what you think of Trump, it's an incredible campaign video on so many levels. Now, I'm going to show you a bit of CNN trying to take the piss out of it. I don't want to interpret this for you, but this is what I got from this. They can't. They can't, because it's so good. Interestingly, the couple of clips they show you last about 2 seconds, 3 seconds. And the video makers would have done that intentionally. You know, part of the brief when they were sitting around, that video probably cost a few million just to come up with the idea, not even shooting it and all that. You know, they would have gone to some top marketing agency, top branding agency. And they would have, part of the brief would have been, you cannot clip this. I don't want any of the legacy media to get a little 3 second bit that makes us look stupid. It has to be continual, relentlessly excellent, which is why Thingy Tapper and co have terrible trouble watching it. Watch how unconvincing this takedown, this hit piece on that campaign video is. It's ridiculous. You can tell that they know it's excellent. You know, when we're talking about CNN here, who get less views than some middle of the road YouTube channels. Now, check this out. It's so bad. Let me know you can hear it, and I'll play a few minutes. Here we go.
As attorneys for former President Donald Trump brace for more possible indictments, the Trump campaign is hitting back with a new ad that is, as you might expect, a bit over the top.
Like a pack of rabid wolves, they attack. So let's impeach him. Let's get tainted radical left prosecutors to charge him.
Did you notice that was different audio? Did you notice that? That isn't the audio from the original video. What's going on there? Anyway, see what he says. It's embarrassing.
Interesting. CNN's Kristen Holmes is here with more on the ad. But let's start with one of the prosecutors that we saw in that clip. We're going to start with CNN's Caitlin Plants, who's in Florida, where a grand jury and special counsel Jack Smith's investigation heard testimony from a former Trump spokesman today.
Oh, so you're not going to talk about the video. You're going to talk about another one of these okey cokey, let's lock him up larks. Okay.
Actually, we're going to go to Kristen Holmes first because we're having some
issues there.
Kristen, tell us more about this ad. And actually, let me start.
Can you believe Tapper's reading? He's got his notes out. Hello, Alan. Good to see you, mate. He's got his. This is so bad. It's because no one's watching this. Pizzle. It's okay to be based. Anyway, let's carry on with this clown show.
Play a little bit more attention. Play a little more, another excerpt of the ad.
Oi, did you hear that Freudian slip? I missed that. I've watched this a few times. I missed it the first time. He says, let's pay a bit more attention. I mean, that is one hell of a long slip. If you don't believe in Freudian slips, I'll convince you right now. Why did he just not say nothing? Why didn't he just go, I can't think of the words. Why did he actually say something which is relevant to the situation? He just said, let's pay more attention. And then he went, play a bit more of the video. And again, watch how much of the video they play. But check out his Freudian slip. It's beautiful. Let's pay more attention. A
little bit more. Kristen, tell us more about this ad. And actually, let me play a little bit more attention. Play a little more, another excerpt of the ad.
Here's a question for you. Just how far are the radical left and inside the Beltway bandits willing to go to stop him? We all know they hate him for winning the fight to protect life, for exposing their deep state, for draining their precious swamp. And they already know he'll crush Biden.
So much there to fact check and dispute, but what are they?
This is CNN, a once respected news network that's got so much Trump derangement syndrome. Did you see that? So much there to fact check and dispute. Okay, this is a very professional setup, and it's going really well. Fuck's sake.
What are they trying to accomplish with that?
Well, in this ad, it's the first time we actually see them using these images of Jack Smith, who is the special counsel. And it really seems to serve as a preemptive strike. And I have been told by sources close to Trump that he's been, as he does, crowdsourcing opinions on whether or not he's going to be indicted. I have been told by Trump advisors that they are bracing for an indictment, one specifically saying that they believe he will be.
Oh, piss off, love. You were cracking up a minute ago. It's just gibber. Absolute nonsense. And their angle's amazing. Well, this is a preemptive strike. Whoa, that's like the least relevant part of the whole story. That allows them to now start talking about something Trump's done wrong and he's going to get arrested and impeached and indicted and Mar-a-Lago. And what about the cocaine in the White? Anyway, well, forget about that. Absolute nonsense. Right, I know this is a call-in and we will get there. But we have to watch this. Now, how am I going to get this? Hang on. Right. Hang on. Oh, they've done me up. Right, hang on. Let me just get the right. Am I going to be able to play it? Why can't I play that? Right, there's that one. So this isn't the same one. Hang on, I'll show you this one, but this doesn't. So this is Sadiq Khan's Have a Word campaign. I mean, we know about the MAAAAATE one. I'm a bit confused here, but we'll watch this anyway. This is last year. Now, interesting demographic situation going on in this video. I mean, no one's surprised, of course, but this was the Have a Word campaign. Am I freezing? This was Have a Word with yourself and your mate, and it's just shocking. Right, let me know you can hear it, please.
I'm not eating anything. Yeah, bro. You know what? I can do this. Oh, Lee, he's taking all his favourite.
Text me when you get home, okay?
I will.
I'm paying. Come on. How much?
Gee, proper fit, bro.
Sweetheart, you alright? You alright, yeah?
She ain't listening, man.
Want a crisp? Go on, have a crisp. Go on, have a crisp. She's a moody one, isn't she? A little bit rude, to be honest. God, geez, am I really that bad?
My taxi's nearly here.
Taxi?
Oi, Jacob, you're not going to say anything? Just leave me alone, man. Bro, look at her.
Whoa. Where are you going in such a hurry? All I've done is be nice. Nice, that's it. I'm trying to be nice, all right? And all I'm getting is this.
What are you doing? You need to say something. This isn't a joke anymore.
All right? What is it? What is your problem? You've not said one word, no?
Come on, bro.
You're not so pretty with that face on, you know? I just don't understand.
What are you doing? That's enough.
Male violence against women and girls can start with words,
Only joking, right?
but it doesn't stop there.
Let's go.
If you see it happening, have a word with yourself, then your mates.
I mean, so glad those inner city black lads were there to save that white girl from the white bloke, because that, what can you say? I mean, you know, yeah, okay, maybe. So that's that. We're going to go to the, we'll go to the man who talks about this stuff. For some reason, I can't get this other video to play. It's just not having it. It might be a Cambodian thing, but it doesn't matter because we've got the expert on such things, and I'm sure you'll enjoy this if you haven't seen it. We'll only watch a couple of minutes because it's not my content, but he's great, and we all know he's great. This is our man Simon Webb talking about this, and mate.
Hello again. I dare say that most viewers are familiar with one of the conventions of modern drama on television, which is that black men are seldom or never shown as being vicious or sexually predatory characters. These roles are reserved for white men, and the black men get to rescue their victims and generally play the good guys. It is a formula as simple as a medieval morality play. The white man is the devil and the black man is the angel, who is thoughtful, sensitive, kind and altruistic. There are no black gangs in the world of television, at least not exclusively black gangs. Any bunch of criminals must always be mixed with white men and black side by side. In domestic dramas, the black man is always kind and considerate towards his partner, while white men are all too often cheating on their wives, their actions being shown as foolish and ill-judged. You will not see a black rapist or child molester in a television drama. Those roles are always given to white men. We're so used to this setup that most of the time we hardly notice it anymore. But it's when it's spilled over into the real world that these fantasies become a little less acceptable. In the description to this video, I give a link to a film produced by the Office of the Mayor of London, which is intended to warn against men harassing women and to encourage men to speak out when they see such behaviour on the part of their acquaintances. In an attempt to be with it, the campaign is called Say Mate to a Mate.
Now, here's the mad thing about it, right? This advert, this campaign, it's funny, we just looked at a Trump campaign that does its job. And this campaign does its job as well. This campaign isn't about protecting women. Of course it's not. They've got absolutely no interest in that. This campaign is about maintaining the whole kind of diversity propaganda. That's all it's about. You know, can you imagine being, what, 15, 16, 17, a teenager? And, you know, you might have a few beers at the weekend and be a bit aggressive. And then you're sitting at home one day and you're watching, I don't know what's on telly these days. And then the adverts come on and it's like, mate, leave it out. Leave it out, mate. That's not right. And you watching it go, that's not nice. I won't do that again. Like, as a teenager, your life is dominated, both male and females, by your peer group. It is so significant to the growth and development of your personality. Your place in the group dynamic is it dominates your existence. It means everything. When your mother says, "Oh, I bought you some new school trousers," and you look at them and your heart just goes, because the first thing you think is, "No way, man. When I wear them at school, everyone's going to just think you fucking dickhead." There's nothing it's just ridiculous that they think the Mayor of London, it's the Mayor of London, it's that Sadiq Khan bloke. So he knows he's really important to the way I organise my affairs socially. That isn't the purpose it serves. And it's much the same as the Christmas adverts that, as we know, always show a black man with a white woman. or the other way around. And it's an especially rare coupling is a black woman and a white man. It's one of the least, one of the least couples that you get in the UK, even with the amount of multiculturalism in the UK. It isn't very frequent happening. So when the likes of all the big companies that do their, people are waiting for the advert. Oh, I can't wait to see Liberty's new Christmas advert. Who are these people? That part of the advert has got nothing to do with selling the products. That's got something to do with maintaining the whole kind of diversity propaganda. It's just stupid. But that Have a Word campaign, that's a year old. It just came and went, didn't it? It just came and went. So this one is May. Oh, sorry, I couldn't get it to play. Is just another one of them. And here's why: because it's an industry. It's an industry. When I was growing up, institutions, the welfare service, for instance, your school, any institution you engaged with didn't have a diversity officer. It just wasn't a thing. But now they've all got them, and they're all on massive wages, and you have to do what you're told. When they come in, and it's not only staff. If you're putting out your advert, they'll be going, "Let me have a look at that." Can you imagine? Imagine working for a government agency, some kind of government institution, and you're like, right, we should really put out something about awareness of this or whatever. And you're just about to get it out the back door, and the diversity officer comes in. Everyone's like, "Oh, what? Yeah, I'll have a look at that." No, money. It's a grift. It's an absolute grift. What was that one we done with Ronnie? Sub Ronnie. It was just, these things don't change people's lives. People do not respond to that. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. I'm trying to think who was. I'll tell you who I listened to when I was a younger teenager. My father. That's who you listen to. That's who young men listen to. I don't know about young women because I wasn't one. Well, maybe. Who knows these days? Absolute madness. Have a Word. May. What is that? The treble A. May. Oh, come on, mate. We were talking the other day about, I think, who did I have on? Who was I talking to? When I was talking to Tim Davis. In Southeast Asia, you can go into a bar or a cafe, not a prostitute bar, not a girly bar, just a bar or a cafe. And if you see a couple of girls sitting down drinking or having a cup of tea or a coffee, whatever, you can talk to them. You can go over and say, "Do you mind if I join you?" And they go, "No, yeah, sit down. Where are you from?" And you start talking to them. And it's not in any way bizarre. It's what humans have been doing for millennia. And, to see this kind of thing, where do you draw the line? And this is why, as I was saying to Tim, that dating apps are so popular now, because you can't approach a woman at work. Women can't approach men at work. You can't approach people in the street. You can end up in prison. It's a really, really bleak situation. Where are you left? Where? I remember as a young man, if I saw a girl that I fancied, I would tell her. I would think, she looks really hot and I'd love to have sex with her. And I'd go over to her and start talking to her. And a couple of times they'd be like, "I'm not up for this at the moment." And I'll be like, "Yeah, no worries." But most of the time, because they're people and because they're part of the same sexually dimorphic species, they're quite up for a chat. It's only a chat, but this fear mongering, don't talk to blokes, you'll end up raped. Don't talk to blokes, they're going to kill you. It's so bad. Imagine being a 13-year-old, 12-year-old girl watching that advert. You know, I can remember when I was a kid, there'd be the sort of non-sphere adverts on telly, don't talk to strangers. And even as a kid, I remember thinking, you know, even as a kid, I remember thinking, hang on a minute, aren't we... I didn't use this this phrase, but this is what I thought. Are we not sacrificing something really important, socializing, on the off chance that someone might be a pedo? Because I think that's too much of a sacrifice. You know, how many in 100,000 blokes, how many are going to chuck you in the back of their car and drive you off and put you in their cellar? I imagine it's a very, very low number. You know, I imagine, especially in a busy high street or something. Don't talk to strangers is a really, really ugly thing for a society to tell its children. And I mean that. And I know, I can imagine some of you thinking, I don't know about that one. But these are the ways they've atomized us. Get that in children's heads. Don't talk to strangers. Young girls think that if a bloke comes and goes, hello, love, you all right? Oh, be careful, he's probably going to kill you. You know, that's what has atomized the English. These are the mechanics. These are the mechanisms that actually do it. When we talk about having no communities, when we talk about being atomized, okay, I'm with you. But you've got to understand, how do they do that? What is the actual mechanisms? And it's usually education. Education such as don't talk to strangers, mate. I mean, I'm thinking of my old social groups from like my teens and my 20s. If any of them, if I'd have gone out, had a couple of jars and said to a bird, hello, love, you all right? And one of my friends would have turned around and put his hand on my shoulder and gone, mate, it would have either been all of us, including the girl, absolutely laughing our heads off, cracking up at the ridiculousness of it because it was a joke, or it would have been horror. I'd have said, are you joking? What, you're telling me to not talk to her? You know, why do men and women go out at the weekend? Why do women spend 3 hours getting dressed up and putting on their fake eyelashes and their lovely little outfits and getting all their hair done and a bit of this? And why do men sit at home? Oh, come on, mum, I iron my shirt, mum, I don't know how to do it. You know, polishing your shoes and all. Why do they do that? So they can talk to other blokes. I mean, the gays will, but they're gay. Imagine how that works in the gay world. Mate, you want to fuck? But you know, so what's the idea? You all go to the boozer because they don't offer you a solution, and that's why I know this is just atomization and demoralization. They don't offer you a solution or an alternative. It's just don't talk to women. Don't try and chat up birds. Who do you think you are? What, you some kind of bloke who's got sexual feelings? You some kind of bloke who assumes that women like sex as well? You some kind of wrong-un who thinks that women like a bit of attention occasionally? What kind of freak are you? Nah, stay away. And this is why, and I've seen this, I saw this in Soho. I'd go into a boozer, half of the boozer, now it's not an exact line, but half of the boozer is groups of women and the other half is groups of men, because they've fallen for this shit that's been going on since Tony Blair, essentially, where, oh, no, that's not right. Shocking. And the amount of women I talk to regularly, friends from back home and their family and that, and they just say, girls have been telling me that they can't, you know, they're waiting for blokes to chat them up. Right, I have fucked some really hot women, and all of them have said the same thing to me. Men don't approach me. Men won't approach me. And I say, yeah, I know, it's because you're really hot. And they say, yeah, but I'd have thought they would approach me for that. I go, yeah, but you misunderstand that they've been belittled and made to feel like freaks. What a mess. What an absolute mess. Well, I think I've got just one more thing. I might have lost it. Let me just see if I've got this one more clip I want to show you. Oh, it goes on too long. Remember him, harmful opinion. Oh, is it just another one of my harmful opinions? Oh, we are. Oi, 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 oi. So I've told you about this before. I'll play a little bit of it. It is a film, but it is on YouTube, right? This documentary, I've watched this documentary. It's a true story. I have seen a couple of super chats come in. I will deal with them. Thank you very much. I will. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get away with this. I can't risk it, and I don't want to ruin it because I'll make a standalone video about it. I know I haven't responded to your email, Mrs. Me in it, but I will. There isn't a secret moderator. I'll deal with those in a minute because let's get this. Let's get the calling started because I've been gabbing for nearly an hour. That's the trick. There you go. Anyone can come in. You don't have to show your face. You can talk about anything you want, but if it's stuff that threatens my channel, I'll just not talk to you because it's not worth the sacrifice. But I'll talk about anything. Just be, a bit of integrity. The link is in the chat. Yeah, it's mad, Martin, isn't it? Like, women know your place, men know your place, and they both are starting to know that it's not with each other. I can't imagine why the birth rate's going down so bad. And I'll tell you what, people. Hello, Packer. Hang on, 42. Packer's in. I'll bring you in a bit. I'll tell you what. I looked at the figures of. Hello, Packer. How are you?
Hello. Hang on. I'm on the wrong screen.
You know,
that's better. That's better. I'm on the right screen now.
All right. You haven't got an echo or anything, have you?
Not this end. I'm all good.
Okay. Do you remember that Viktor Orban, the president of Hungary, he done all these incentives for childbirth? Yeah, he's very based. But he done this thing like where you get, if you have one child, you get something like 20 grand. If you have two kids, you get 40 grand off your mortgage. Really actually quite decent numbers when you consider the house prices out there. I think if you have 4 children, you don't pay income tax for the rest of your life. Really good incentives. I was looking at the results yesterday and they haven't worked. It hasn't worked.
Oh.
Yeah, really.
What, the birth rate, you mean? It hasn't worked?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, maybe me and you, Chris, should go over there and sort that out.
I don't know if I like the sound of that. Oh, I see what you're saying. Go like on an impregnation holiday.
Yeah.
I've had a few of them in my time. Did you see that thing in the paper about that bloke? He just outright contacted the media and said, "I'm a far right extremist and I've impregnated over 500 women."
I didn't see that. No.
Yeah, it's an absolutely true story. Let me see if I can find it. Far right impregnated women.
Is he tongue in cheek or is he straight up meaning it?
No, he's. Can anyone in the chat let me know if you saw that? I'm sure I'm not dreaming it. No, he reckons he went round and barebacked like thousands of women just because he thought his politics were genetic and he wanted to increase the birth rate. I mean, it's a bit of a one-man army, but I suppose it's a number.
Yeah, but all them single mothers, though, half his kids are just going to end up in prison, aren't they? So,
well, maybe he had some kind of questionnaire beforehand. How much you earning? What's your inheritance likely to be?
Yeah.
Brad James, hello, Brad. Brad says it's only been a decade or so. Yeah, in fairness, I don't even think it's been that long, but if it's going to work, wouldn't it have worked like within 9 months, sort of thing? You'd have expected to. I'll get the table up. Hang on.
Boys, you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle to bang out 4 kids in 9 months, Chris. Let's be fair. I mean, I don't think it. I thought it applied to families, not just the father. I mean, the father could go and bang out 4 kids in 9 months. That'd be great. Do you know what I mean? Like, there'd be a certain demographic of people moving to Poland, moving to Hungary en masse. If that was, I mean, Chicago would end.
No, marriage is part of the deal. You've got to be married. Yeah, I found it. Yeah, look. I'll put it on the screen so you can see it. This is just a snippet, but then I can show you a bit more. Yeah. Nice to see you, Bradley, by the way. How do I get that showing? Maybe that one. Here we go. I'll probably be able to make that a bit bigger. Bosh. The current fertility rate, I have to take that comment off the screen. Hello, Miss Glass. We've had some nice chat about music and it's been a little bit erotic at times as well. The current fertility rate for Hungary in 2023 is 1.5 births per woman, a 0.65 increase from 2022. The fertility rate for Hungary in 2022 was 1.53 births per woman, a 0.66% increase from 2021. I think replacement rate is 2.2 in it, or 2.1.
Yeah.
But here we go. Look, the current birth rate in Hungary in 2023 is 9.27 births per 1,000 people, a 0.45 decline from 2022. And you know, it just keeps going down. I had a look at all this yesterday. Yeah, this is the table you want to be looking at.
Is it actually going down, or is it just not going up very quickly?
Yeah, not going up anywhere near enough. But look, from 2019 to today, it's gone down. Minus 0.44, minus 0.46, minus 0.50, minus 0.56. minus 0.50. It stabilized between 214 and 218. It was minus all before that. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's a bit like what we were talking about with Gavin yesterday, that I can remember being on stream saying it has worked. The Hungarian childbirth and marriage incentivization has worked. But it depends how you come at the numbers. And it turns out, yeah, more people are getting married, but they're not having the third and second child. So they're only having the same amount of children as they were before. And that's a real shame, because if you're not breeding at replacement rates, can someone tell me what it is, people? I think it's 2.1, isn't it?
Well, it's got to be more. Yeah, it's got to be more than 2.
Yeah, if you're not
otherwise...
breeding. Hang on, let's get it. Let's find out what is the.
Anything more than 2, Chris?
Yeah, 2.1 child. 2.1 child. Have you got 0.1 child somewhere? Just like a foot you've got in the attic.
Well, my daughter's not all that tall, so I reckon I've got about 1.8.
Hello, blogs. Bill reckons it's 2.5. Well, as Packer said, it's anything over 2, because it takes 2 to make 2 children, and if it's not over that, that's just the same. So yeah, but like you say, there's going to be accidents and whatever. But that's why they're bringing people into England by the 5 million over the next few years, because we won't have enough people to pay for the looking after the aging population.
Right. Well, yeah, but it's still equally as big a fuck up, because the aging population is just going to grow. It doesn't.
Yeah, no, exactly. Of course it is. And the more you look after them, I mean, it sounds dark, But the more you look after,
Yeah, you're trying to put the fire out by throwing wood on it. Is what you're doing there.
And you know, the amount of people I know who've told me their parents said, "Oh, I've had enough now. You know, just kill me," and you can't because you'll end up in prison or whatever. Like I had a mate. I've told this story so many times. I won't do the full version, but I had a mate whose dad. He'd said he'd had enough at like 73, and those doctors kept him alive till he was 80. And he was just like, I don't want to be alive. I've had a good life. I'm not mad. I'm ready to go. I've done everything I want to do. I don't like walking around like with my back breaking. And they would not stop pumping him full of drugs and doing this operation and doing that operation. I mean, why? I mean, why pay for that? Why do it? You should have the right to say, I'm done. I'm done. I think if you're an adult, you should have the right to say, I'm done. What do you make of that, Packer?
I agree. But where I work, they just tend to give up. You can see it.
That's interesting.
Especially
for
if they
people,
come in.
for people who don't know, Packer works in like a nursing home. Is that what it's called, or a care home?
It's a care home, yeah. And sometimes they'll come in as couples, and one of them will die, and the other one, nothing wrong with them at all. Fortnight later, gone.
That's right. You told me.
It's time to go. Bye. They'll stop eating. Do you know what I mean? You can't force feed them.
Well, they did. My mate's dad. They, you know,
they had...
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So in a care home, if someone stops eating,
you could
they just have to let them. That isn't counted as like a hunger strike or something.
If they've got mental capacity, you can't force them.
And you've had people do that.
Yeah.
They just no, I'm done.
Yeah, it ain't just the not eating kills them. They just give up. They've had enough. I'm done. Bye.
Do you remember that awful story of that poor woman? She had some kind of progressive motor neurone disease where, I don't know if I got the words right there. It was a similar thing to what Stephen Hawking's had, but she was early stages. And she said, you know, I don't want to go there. Can you kill me? Or we're going to go off to Switzerland and Dignitas.
Isn't that what they did? And then they tried to do him when he got back?
I don't know actually what happened, but you can't just go to Switzerland and go to Dignitas. You've got to have the British government give you permission to go to another country and have and you know, imagine the husband. You know, she said, "I don't want my husband to see me. Just get worse and worse until I'm just nothing."
You can emigrate to Canada. That'll help you out.
There you go. It's a tricky one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I tried to have the conversation with my mother once, right? Because I know how to do that. I know how to put someone over. And I thought it would be a nice thing. And I sat her down and I said, right, this is really important and it's going to be really difficult. I said, but if there were to come a time where you were in agony or you didn't know who you were and you had no life, if you want, I will end that for you. And she went, what are you bloody talking about, you idiot? Go away. just didn't want to entertain it. I thought it was like I thought it was one of those real sort of moments in life, you know, where she might have actually thanked me for being brave or something. What are you bloody talking about, you idiot? What do you want for dinner? I was just like, fucking hell, my mum.
My dad tried to kill himself the other day. He decided he was going to put some wires to his shed, which involved putting some trunking up.
You're joking, or he tried to kill himself by accident, or what?
By accident, yeah. No, he was going to wire his shed, so he decided he was going to put some trunking up on like a 10-foot wall at the top, along the top of this wall, and do that by dragging the kitchen table outside and standing on it, which promptly collapsed under him. And he's cut all his fucking head open. He's got 2 black eyes. He's got a great big gash out of his arm.
How old is he?
82. What year are we? Yeah, 82 he is.
No, man.
We get a phone call from his ex-bird flapping that he's on his way to hospital in an ambulance. He was just cut and bruised, and he sat round for about 4 hours waiting for the ambulance to come. We thought he was in hospital. But
That's jokes,
because I live an hour down the road, and I'm a bloody handyman. So he decides he's going to do it.
You can't get up in the loft in what was my mother's house without not only a step ladder but a bit of climbing.
Yeah.
My 77-year-old mother got up there though, and I said, "Why didn't you just ask me?" She said, "What are you going to bloody do from Cambodia?" I was like, "Talk to someone who lives one road away from you."
Yeah, you'll ring a mate. Yeah,
for a living. Yeah. And another one, I remember once she said, "I'm getting sick and tired of those ladders up the top of the garden." I said, "Well, I'll get them moved." She said, "Well, how are you going to do that?" I said, "Get someone to move them." She said, "I don't want all that bloody trouble." "Oh, I'm sorry to hassle you, Mum, about the ladders that you just told me you didn't want at the top of the garden." They're mental old people. They're fucking mad.
Grego says 82 is the age of no longer giving a single fuck.
Hang on, what is that? Here we go.
Greg.
Hello, Grego. Long time no see.
My dad hasn't given a fuck since my mum died, and that's been 15, 20 years.
Has he really not? Did you notice a real change in him?
Oh, yeah. Not a single fuck given anymore, no.
Have you spoken to him about that sort of stuff?
Yeah, we talked about it. He's happy. He's all right, but he just don't care no more.
He cares more about his grandkids.
Yeah, he's here for his grandkids, and that's about it.
I think, hello, Matsuka. Hello, Otto. Otto says, "I'm 52 and I don't give a single fuck." I know, Otto. I see it every day.
Yeah.
The boy Cray said the same. Oh, I find it quite sad. I absolutely love life. I love it. I mean, it is a struggle. I'm having some dramas at the moment here and there, but you've always got dramas here and there. You like your life, don't you, Packer?
Yeah, I do now. Yeah.
Even Manny Moo's enjoying his life, and that is a barometer of the world. You had a bad time before, though, didn't you? But we've all had bad times. We've all had good times. I'm starting to think recently, I did waste a lot of years. I'm not going to waste time regretting it, but if someone said to me, "You can have another 50 years," I'd take it. I'd absolutely take it. I'd be like, yeah. I could work
I would right now.
It's mad, isn't it?
But that would put me at 103. Although, I've known people that old that are totally with it.
My girlfriend's grandmother, I think she's about 107, 8 now, maybe 9. And she's up at 5 o'clock in the morning. She's not like in a care home, with the fucking sheet and the ball. She'll get up. She's out doing the gardening, washing all the plates for a family of like 30. She's active. And like you said, she's got purpose. She's got a massive family that she's the matriarch of. I reckon if you took them away, she'd probably die in a week or something.
Just to put the record straight, some of them love the sheet and the ball. They love a bit of that.
They do that at your place, do they?
Occasionally, yeah. Their favourite game is carpet bowls. We've got a big lounge and we put the...
Hang on a minute. For people who don't know, a lot of care homes, they give them like a sheet and they sit them in a circle.
Like a parachute.
Yeah. And they put like a beach ball in it and then they just do that so it goes over... But it's like real slow motion because this game's saved for the people. I went to see my nan in a care home once and her teeth always used to fall out. But the weird thing was they'd fall out one side and she'd keep them in rather than just sticking them back up because they just kept falling out. She'd keep them in with her bottom lip, but it made her look like she was going all the time, right? And she wasn't a very nice person either. So you'd go in there and we caught her playing sheep ball. What's it called?
I don't know.
What did you call it? You referred to it. Ball and cloth or something you said.
Yeah, it's like I think it's called parachute or something.
Oh God, I nearly died myself. But we've gone in there and we said to the nurse, "Oh, where's old so-and-so, so-and-so?" And she went, "Oh, she's playing at the moment." And I've poked my head round the corner. She's holding on to that thing. She's going... Shocking thing. I thought, nah, never let me end up there.
Yeah, they play dominoes and bingo and this carpet bowls game.
Hello,
They
mate.
sit and do
I thought-
jigsaws.
Good to see you, son.
Speaking
but
of him,
that isn't. Is that going to sustain you, Packer? Would that sustain you?
Can you see that?
Oh my God, that's his racing team, is it?
Yeah, it's going to go. We're going to get him in orange because that don't stand out on his kart, but they're going on his go kart. We'll send you a picture when they're on.
Amazing. I tell you what we'll do a fundraiser stream for his some kit he needs when he needs some kit. No,
What does he need, Tony? What does he need? That's the wrong answer. He needs wet wheels.
Well, all right.
He's got tyres, wet tyres, but he ain't got no wet wheels.
We'll get a set of wets. I'll have a look online and see how much they are, and that will be whether I forget about it or we go.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you offline about that kind of thing. I just want to say, Snoopy, I was a bit busy yesterday, but you were very generous with your donation. But chucking out all those memberships was amazing. No one's done
Legend,
that.
Isn't he?
Absolutely legendary. So I am going to do a membership stream just to make use of those memberships you gave out. So that's coming. The Out of It streams next week as well. I know I've forgotten about it, but it's been dramas with work. Not problems, just a lot of it. But yeah, that was amazing, Snoopy, yesterday. Really, really appreciated. All right, Pack, I want to leave us with anything? Got something to tell us?
No, nothing. No.
Nothing.
Well, we're done.
All right. Go on, get out. Ta-da, mate. Look after yourself. See you later, little un. Hoyt to the Scrubs racing. That bloody ball, and I think I've told you this before, but there's an old people's home in Dartford called the Limes, Limes, and always someone had put an S in front of it, so it said the Slimes. And the sign was right in front of the window, so they'd all be in the window like, and it'd say the Slimes. It's not. We're all getting old, but it was great when you were like 14, 42. No audio, mate. Your mic's off. It says here your mic's off.
Okay, I'm working better now.
Now, what was it yesterday's stream where you would? I got the impression you were jumping up and down, wanting to say something. Or it was with Tim Davis.
Yes.
I'm thinking me, you, and him should stream together.
Yes, that would work well.
As well as the Jordan Peterson one me and you are doing. I'm not talking about a replacement one, but I think that might be quite a good one.
Yeah.
Do you get the feeling that Tim? I didn't want to say it to him, and he might be watching now. Hello, Tim, but he can take it. He's quite early on in his sort of journey, isn't he? That kind of red pill journey, I think.
He does. He certainly has a bit of red pill rage, where he has the anger still very there for a focus. But
okay, that's interesting.
Generally what happens is people figure out what's going on, and then they become very viscerally angry, and then they want to change everything.
Yeah.
And they also have this happened to me as well. I had I had this really strange experience where I thought, I keep on hearing in the news about people with services and whatnot that fell through the cracks, and they haven't explained. Nobody's explained what the problem was, and then you go along and you actually speak to all the service providers, and you find out that A, you're not the first person that told them this is a problem, and B, yeah, we get a lot of that. We hear that a lot, but no, we don't really want to change anything. You know, at the very start of this, because I was talking to service providers before I found the men's rights movement, and I was like, yeah, this is simple. This is easy. I fell into a situation that obviously doesn't happen very often, and there's cracks in the system. And if I just simply go along and explain where the cracks in the system are, they'll do things to plug up those gaps and provide services, and then you find out, oh fuck no, they knew exactly where all those cracks are and have no interest. Yeah.
Demoralizing.
Well, it's not even that they want to fix the cracks. It's the holes were put there deliberately.
Yeah, the system is a hole. The system is a bonus hole, we could say.
Yeah, it is. It's a bonus hole. See that? This is what wound me up. That campaign that you showed earlier with
have a word. That one's called Have a Word, Mate, or something. But that's not my. I don't know what my is. I couldn't play it.
It would be very interesting who funded that, and did the funding come out of the money it's ring fence for the Violence Against Women and Girls Act? Because I would say it probably is. UK ring fences round about $7 billion every 4 years for campaigns to prevent violence against women and girls, and you get stuff like that come out, and you'll probably find that Women's Aid or White Ribbon or both were involved in creating that whole fucking shit show.
I mean, it's terrible, but nothing's gonna be. Hey, don't touch me there. This is my no-no square. Remember that one? 2 million. That cost 2 million. And
yes,
and it looked like it had been made like just on an iPhone, which was part of the idea. You know, no, let's make a meme. Let's make it like a TikTok video.
Well,
again, though, it was like what I was saying about the Mate and Have a Word campaign. Is the No Square campaign was targeted at immigrants to tell them that no, you can't touch a woman on the boobs and the vagina.
Has anybody?
Do you honestly think any of them are going to watch that and go, I mean, they know you're not meant to. That's why they do it. It's a power thing.
Have they considered teaching the migrants English first?
What, so they can understand the advert?
Yeah, giving them an advert that's not in their language, probably not the best way to go.
Yeah.
Now, if you were serious about doing that, what you do is you get one of the older, respected, important people of that country.
Yeah, the people they listen to, exactly.
Right, yes, and you get them to have a serious talk about how the culture in the country they're in now is different to the culture that they left, and they need to modify their behavior. And you do that in like a 5-minute talk, and you put that out, and you take certain slots and you put it into your 30-second commercials. But what happens with that No Square? What happened with that Have a Word Mate campaign? What happens with which goes back to the Don't Be That Guy campaign?
Yeah.
You have activists who become involved with the campaign. They get paid a lot of money for doing the campaign. Their organization. They become the focus group. The focus group gets the people to actually make the advertisement. They get a chunk of money, less than what the activists got, and then you end up with this bullshit because they're more interested in the money than they are in the solution.
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
And plus, absolutely. Also, if you ring fence a budget of $7 billion, right? If you don't manage to spend that $7 billion within the 4-year period, you don't get $7 billion next time.
Yeah.
So
it's almost like Brewster's Millions of virtue. You know, you've got to spend that money, man, and you've got to. And the funny thing about like the no square, the don't be this guy, and all that lot. How do you? What's the word? How do you show the results? It can't fail, can it? Because there's no way. What's the word I'm looking for? 42.
There's no tangible results.
That's what I mean. You know, you can't. A year late, you can't say, right, we spent X amount of money. Let's have a look. How many no squares weren't touched last year? Loads. Actually, 95% of the population didn't get their no squares done. That's because of the advert.
The don't be that guy. People tried to take me to court.
Really?
Yeah. We made a meme. We took the don't be that guy picture and their thing at the bottom, and on their where they had their writing, we put in I seen her, she was drunk, so I took action. I backed away, got a taxi and went home on my own.
I'm going to show it for people who don't know what we're talking about. When was this? About 2018, 2019?
It goes back to, I would say it's going to be about the Don't Be That Guy one was in America and Australia before it was here. I think probably somewhere about 2014, 2015.
Okay, well, let's have a look, people. Hopefully you'll be able to hear it. Let me know if you can.
Ever called the gold doll? Or whistled at her walking down the street?
Ever stared at a woman on a bus or
said to your mate, I'd do that? You ever give a girl a compliment? Like nice? And wondered why you didn't get a thank you?
ever slid into a girl's DMs?
You went ahead and just showed her it?
Ever bought a lassie dinner? I felt that meant she owed you something.
You ever got 3 shots in a row hoping you'd get a shot of her?
Then what? Bundled her wasted into a taxi and took her back to yours.
You ever guilt tripped her?
Or pressured her? Or pushed her into it? And then left feeling like a lad?
Most men don't look in the mirror and see a problem.
But it's staring us right in the face.
Sexual violence starts long before you think it does. Don't be that guy.
It's so fucking sinister. It's saying you probably are a rapist. You don't know it, but it's there.
It comes from the campaign, which is based on the notion that all men are rapists from the outset. That's just their nature. And how we stop rape is we teach all these men that are natural rapists not to rape. Now, even rapists know that rape is wrong. You walk into any room anywhere and say, right, every man that thinks rape's good, put your hand up. Not one person's putting their fucking hand up.
Yeah.
But that's the Scottish version, which came probably 2 to 3 years after it started.
That's why I couldn't understand the word they were saying.
I know Scots are saying, please forgive me, but they're speaking fluent Japanese.
Go on, you'll get us all in trouble. But again, it's so I know that feminism throughout the 90s was all men are rapists. I mean, it's not a big deal, but it was at the time. I wrote potential rapist on my forehead in a marker and walked around art school with it all day. Quite the thing at the time. And because that's what they were saying. And it's true. It's true. Of course it's true. But only in as much as all humans are potential pedophiles. All humans are potential murderers. And that word potential...
but the difference is nobody's pretending that nobody's pretending that it's been socially normalized and became acceptable. Apart from that's what the feminists are doing with rape. They're saying that rape is totally normalized, it's socially acceptable. If a man goes into the pub and says, "Here, I just raped the girl," everybody will go, "Oh, well done, go you."
Yeah, that's it. I mean, what a lot of feminism, even contemporary feminism's got this thing that men think they're entitled to their bodies. Men think they're entitled to female bodies. And I can assure you, quite the opposite is my experience. Most men think, I'd love to have sex with her, but I know I can't. You know,
this goes back to the 1960s when magazines like, was it Vogue? The big fashion magazines were putting out articles said that the average men think about sex every 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, are you sure? Because I'm pretty sure that the likes of Ronaldo and Lionel Messi and all those professional footballers that play a match for 90 minutes ain't stopping to think about sex every 3 seconds. You know, could you imagine trying to play a game of golf? You've got the ball, you've put it on the tee, you've got the club, hold on, need to think about sex.
Well, I must admit, in this example, I'm struggling to agree with you. But I'll tell you what, though, my experience, you know, I'm 50 years old. I've spent a lot of time, you know, I've done 5, 6 different colleges and universities. I was on the stand-up scene for 10 years, you know. I've had a lot of male friends. You know, I'm sure a lot of people have. But if you see one of your mates being an arsehole to a woman, you don't like it. You're not like, yeah, go on, son. No, you just go over there and go, sorry, love, he's pissed. And you just pull him off and go, fuck off. You know, that isn't something men need teaching. They do it.
Yeah, that happens naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's also a side order of whenever I go back and speak to her in about 4 minutes' time, she's going to remember that I was nice.
You're all right, love. I was sorry about him. Anyway, what are you drinking? Yeah, but even if I think if you done that to a bird, right? So your mate's being a bit of an arsehole. He's over there going, I'll tell you what, love, you come back to my house, you'll be able to sit down for 4 days. Know what I'm talking about. And if I could see she was getting a bit annoyed or just rather he wasn't there, I'd go over and go, "Oi, John, come here. Go on, we're going to go do some acid." They'd be like, "All right then." And then if I went over to him and said, "Sorry about that, he's actually a nice bloke, he's just pissed." And then if I said, "However, I'm a really nice bloke," I reckon she'd probably laugh. You know, women like men. Women do like men. These adverts have also got that sort of insipid kind of, you know, that's also in the background, isn't it? You know, separate yourselves from females. Just don't go near them ever. What position to put a woman in?
I ended up, whenever I was doing the portrait and stuff, I ended up in a group sort of doing stuff, and there was about 5 women.
A word of that. Right. Let's try again from the beginning. When you were doing the porcupine stuff.
No, portrait. Whenever I was doing
that's right. Go on,
the stand-up portrait, I ended up in a group doing an activity, and it was like an arts and crafty fucking thing. It was shite. But the woman who was running it said that she was she seemed to be basically petrified of men, and she said that there was one night she had a flat tire and she was changing her wheel, and a car stopped behind her and a guy got out to help her. She jumped into the car and phoned the police before he'd even said a word.
I mean, what a position to put. Again, this goes back to that, you know, telling young girls that this is what men are like. It goes back to that. Just what a terrible thing to do to young girls to give them that level of fear. You know, there's more chance of a bloke getting attacked on a night out than a woman.
Yes, there is. How a man makes himself safer walking home is to have a woman with him.
There you go. That makes sense.
But whenever that happened, there was a Polish girl that was in the group, and she says, "Are you fucking nuts?"
I mean, there was a time when we were going out a little gang of about 8 of us in Dartford every weekend, you know, Thursday through Saturday. And 1 or 2 of us would get a clump somewhere along the way. And that might escalate a bit to a bit of a brawl. But, you know, that's just walking home. That's not in the boozer just calling it on with someone. That's just walking home. And as you're walking past someone, he just cuffs you. And then it, you know, there's a bit of a brawl, and then when someone realizes they're the one on the floor, it just sort of fizzles out because whatever was trying to be proved has been proved, and so one side won. But I don't think groups of women would necessarily. That's their experience of being a teenager.
Yeah, no, it's that's definitely a male experience.
You know, I remember explaining to a girlfriend when we were about, I'll tell you how old we were, about 18. And she liked wearing nice big stilettos, which I had no problem with. I was actually rather into it. But I'd always say to her, stick a pair of plimsolls or something in your bag for the walk home. And she'd be like, why? I go, because if it comes on top, you're fucked, and I've got to look after you. Whereas if we can just get out of there, and she'd be like, "There's nothing going to happen." I go, "Yeah, but it does," you know, because that was my experience of going out. You get in trouble. But you're actually right. When I was with a girl, you usually get left alone.
Yep, it's
always,
amazing,
obviously, but.
Yeah,
Is there actually evidence on that? Is that something that's been looked into? Is that why you said it?
Yeah, it has been looked into. Whenever you look at the crime statistics, whenever you look at who's been attacked late at night on their way home, it goes single men, 2 to 3 men, woman on their own, woman and man, or something like that, but it's in and around, or woman on their own and woman and man, a couple are round about the same level.
It's almost when you're a man and when you're a couple, it's almost like you're not part of the competition. You know, you're already paired off.
Yes, that's exactly it. And you're also
when
not.
There's 5 blokes walking towards 5 blokes.
Yeah.
Someone wants to prove something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit hairy. I did get, you know, a few hairy times,
there's territory issues. There's all sorts of stuff comes in, and you know, this is our gaff. What are you doing here?
Yeah.
You know, or somebody's had a shitty night and they need to prove something to somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. The sucker punch is the worst of all attacks on blokes. I hate it. I think it's if you want to fight with someone, just at least have the balls to tell them. Just knocking someone's awful. It makes me feel really well as a teenager. It made me feel scared. I don't want. You know, if someone doesn't like me and wants to come up to me and give me the old shove and let me know, at least I've got a few choices. But when, you know, you just suddenly go, what the fuck is that? Yeah.
Yeah. I've only ever seen one unprovoked, like, sucker punch, but that went to the guy's head, you know, but from the front.
Wow.
He had the length of time that the fist started swinging to react to it. And that was one of them things. There was like 4 of us walking down the street, and there was 4 of them walking the other way. And somebody decided that they were going to throw a fist, and then there was a bit of an argy-bargy, and then it sort of broke up and just that was it.
But I'll be honest with you though. I certainly feared for my safety from the age of about probably about 15 to about 25, probably more than I needed to, and that would have been based on similar sort of government crappy things telling you how dangerous the world is. I mean, obviously things happen, but it's not the world that it's made out to be. That's for sure.
Yeah, the world's a lot safer place than we are led to believe, because there's money to be made and there's political gain to be made out of fear. Interestingly, the things that we do actually need to be worried about are the things maybe if you walk into an area and you start to notice that you're the only white person, it might be the time to turn around and walk the other direction. But they ain't ever going to tell you that.
Absolutely. I had this argument with a friend. Actually, that will take me on to something else I want to ask you. I said to him, a very good friend of mine, he was one of the friends I lost during my red pilling. I've sort of got him back, but there's a limit there now. Do you know what I mean? But I want to ask something about that. But I said to him, I said, okay, so you're walking home, you've been out in Soho or something, and you get you get to a road and you sort of walk out, and there's 20 white blokes standing on that corner, and there's 20 black blokes standing on that corner. Which way do you go? And you're lost. He said the colour of their skin wouldn't affect my decision. I went, you lying bastard. And he was like, no, it wouldn't. I said, well, it should. I said, and it's not necessarily because they're black, it's because you're different to them.
Here,
and he would
Chris,
not have it. He would not have it.
I'll tell you how far this goes. There was one day about 2 years ago, I was going out onto my local road to get something. I can't remember what it was. It was like screws and washers or something like that.
Wait, you can't lie to make your life sound more interesting.
Yeah. It was a picture frame or some bullshit anyway. But
new PVC cat suit for the missus.
Yeah, right. So I went out because I was just going to my local road, and what I happened to have on, which was a Northern Ireland branded hoodie. Right. So it's got the Northern Ireland football crest and one of the breasts. And went out onto my local road, couldn't get what I wanted, went, fuck, I have to go into town. Went into Belfast, and then I ended up walking towards, and this is in the shopping area, right? But in an area that's more nationalist. And I started to notice people looking at me and getting double takes. And then I looked down and realized what I had on, and went, yeah, fuck, you're not supposed to be here with that on.
Yeah, I've done that. I've done it with an Arsenal top on, yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's as the world is a safer place than we're saying, but then it's made out to be. But you do also need to have just a little bit of
yeah, for sure. But like you say, the things that are actually worth fearing and worth adjusting your behaviour for don't tend to get a mention. They don't want to go there. So it's all sort of put onto things like that advert there, you know, all sexual abuse, sexual violence happens long before. Oh, okay, sorry, I didn't know that. It's in me. It's just brewing, just waiting for the right time. This is what I wanted to ask you. I'm going to let you go after this one, but I would like your answer on this. I've been thinking a lot lately about the whole red pill thing and the nationalism thing, because I don't really do a lot of that anymore. And there's various reasons for that. But one thing that I do wish I hadn't done was try to push it on friends who didn't want to know about it. Because looking back, it wasn't that I thought it wasn't like it wasn't that they didn't believe me. It was they weren't interested, and that's what caused the friction. And you could argue, well, they should be interested, yeah, but they're not. They're interested in their job and their children, and and like when I remember one of them said, he said, "Listen, I don't sit around watching YouTube all day like you." He said, "I'm not into it. I don't like all this stuff." And I'm like, "What do you mean stuff? It's the end of your fucking country." And they'd be like, "Do you understand how weird that sounds to me?" He said, I've got to try and pay my rent for next week, and you're talking about the end of the country." And that, I think I think something like YouTube, where you can put a message out there and people who want to hear it can come to you, would have served me better in terms of energy and demoralization and damaging some relationships that really didn't need it. I only lost with those friendships.
Right. There's a couple of things going on here. One is try to make sense of this. For a very long time, I believed I had a nagging wife, right? And then, because I'm a health and safety representative with the union, I was on a health and safety courses, and we did the section on bullying and how that differs between children and adults and how bullying works and whatnot. And I'm getting, yeah, that's pretty much what happens in the house. That's what I'm living with. And then after I'd escaped, I went to the Men's Advisory Project. I had a long talk with them. They sat down the legal definition of domestic abuse, and I went, yeah, actually, do you know what? That's what I was living with, because it fits the definition. Yeah. Now, had someone explained that to me 10 years earlier, I probably would have rebelled against it, because now I've got an understanding of what's going on. Now I've got to actually do something about it. Which, with domestic abuse, it's really simple. You need to leave, right?
Yeah.
But see where it comes to what's going on in your country and how that's being sold down the road and fucked. Your choices are less stark, but there do need to be choices. First thing you're going to have to do is you're probably going to have to change your voting policies. You're going to need to talk about it. You're going to need to accept it, and you're going to need to have a proper look at what's going on around you. And a lot of people are simply not ready to do that.
Yeah.
And
I mean, these people I'm talking about, they're not stupid. They're not stupid at all. As you weren't in your relationship. But
I know of women who have been married women who've been having an affair for 10 to 15 years. And the other man comes to that woman's house, right? And they have sex in that house. And the husband doesn't notice a different scent in the bed. He doesn't, right? Of course he fucking does, but he's willfully looking right. He's willfully looking the other direction. He doesn't want to see, doesn't want to know. And we have a lot of that in different facets of it. If you're working for a company and most of the job's okay, but this certain manager's a cunt or whatever, you ignore and you mitigate it down. And we do the same thing with what we see going on in our country. And anytime that you force people to look at that and think about it, it does cause front. In the same way that I watched your video the other day. Well, I watched most of it about the dolls.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And we've all had a lot of talk about the Bum family, but nobody seems to have mentioned that the best-selling sex toy in the world by far is a rampant rabbit, or a version thereof, which is basically a penis.
Hasn't it got a little anus stimulator on it as well?
No, it's a clitoris. The rabbit's got a clitoral stimulator.
Oh, I've been putting that in backwards. Not
Yeah,
myself.
you've been putting that in backwards. But dildos vibrators have for all time been the best-selling sex toys. They are the first sex toys.
I've never known a bloke to have a blow-up doll, and the blokes I've grown up with would not hide that from me. You know, their porn would be littered around the house. But all those working class birds I knew, they'd get their vibrators out of their handbags at parties and things, and like joust with them and all that. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
but see, that's socially acceptable, but the doll's not. You know, for a woman to have a vibrator and put it out of the party.
I wouldn't make a video taking the piss out of dildos. How interesting is that? It doesn't.
Yeah, but you get the latest latex doll with the removable drip tray and all that sort of stuff, and all of a sudden you're a pervert.
Fucking drip tray.
Oh yeah, yes, they do have drip trays that come out.
How do you know that? 42.
Because of Turd Flinging Monkey.
Is it because you and Emma have a rubber threesome?
No, we don't have rubber threesomes, but have you heard of?
Carry on there. She's in the chat.
Right, have you heard of? Right, have you heard of Turd Flinging Monkey?
Turd Flinging Monkey.
YouTuber.
No.
Right. No. Okay. Right. He's a YouTuber that came out of the Manosphere. He does other stuff as well. But he does reviews.
Hang on. I was reading Dawn's comment. What? Tell me about this fella.
Right. Turd Flinging Monkey. He's wrote a book called The Way of Monkey. He does a lot of good stuff, but he's also got the wife flip, which is the rubber doll thing. And he does reviews on all those dolls and stuff because they were the only thing that YouTube were allowing the.
Hang on. What he does them as like he's into them, and he sort of says, old Linda's got nice hands, and the flesh is kind of.
YouTube demonetized them. YouTube demonetized them of everything, but he found he could get away with doing.
Find this fella. Hang on. What's it called? Shit Flinging Monkey.
Turd Flinging Monkey.
Turd Flinging Monkey.
You'll probably not find him on YouTube. He's probably been banned. He's on a lot of the other stuff.
Here he is. Yep. He's here. Oh yeah, loads of reviews for sex toys.
Yep. That was the only.
He's got a bum funny.
Yep. That's the only thing he could get monetized on.
He's actually got the one they tried to send me. Yeah, let's have a little look at this. He's called it Sex Doll Torso Chloe. Let's have a little look at this. It says sponsored. I'll tell you what, they wrote to me and said, "This is what we want you to sell." They said, "Name your price." And I thought wicked, but they won't let that in Cambodia, and that could probably get me.
I need to put a disclaimer in here. For the record, I believe that sex is best between two sober human beings.
Okay, but it can also be fantastic between me and two birds on speed. That was fucking wicked. One of the best nights of my life. Let's have a look at Turd Flinging Monkey. You're right, though. As an older man, having that contact, the actual contact, rather than just and having a sexual relationship you've developed between the two of you with honesty, talking about desire. Yeah, phenomenal. You know, I always get blown away when I got mates who I make a joke to them, something like, fuck me, you're tired, you've been up at it all night. They go, fuck off, I'm married, I ain't had sex for 6 years. And I'm like, hang on a minute, I've had an 8-year relationship, an 11-year one, a 6-year and a 5-year. And all of them, the sex has got better over time because you've had longer to develop it. And so it terrifies me, the thought that you remember when I said on the stream 42, when I said men forget to treat their wives like whores. And I know I said it for a bit of a laugh, but there is an element of truth in there, in as much as they almost sort of, you know, they don't want to let their desires go, but they will with a whore. And actually the wife's not getting satisfied. He's not getting it. Just seems so absurd. Oh, it really upsets me, man. You know, oh, fuck off. I've been married 6 years. What's sex? I'm like, that's just, we'll leave her then. Because if neither of you are getting sexually satisfied, what are you together for? You know, childless families as well. Anyway, let's have a look at this bloke and I'll see how quickly I can get yeeted. Here we go. But yeah, this is the bum fanny. I'm so gutted. I mean, not only the money, I'd have loved to have reviewed it. I've seen other reviews of it. I see there's a girl that reviews it, and she's like sticking it in the ass, and she's going, I mean, that is a tight ass. That ass is not gonna get loose for, well, I don't know, years. I think you could probably get your whole hand up there and it's gonna pinch back. I would love to have done that review. I'd get both arms, get a fucking foot in it, yeah, kicking it around the room. I mean, this is the best bum fanny I've ever played football with. Right, where were we? Turd flinging monkey, 42's little secret passion. We've lost 7 viewers while we've been talking about this. Here we go. We should have audio. This is 42 suggestion. I just wanted to make that clear.
Girl, you look mighty fine. Won't you rub your fingers down my spine? Girl, you look mighty fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. There's the bum fanny. I've got to say this for YouTube. If you're under 18, you probably want to switch off now. This is sexual content. I'm just gonna show you a couple of seconds of it. Weirdly, the one thing it isn't is sexual content, but you know how these things work. Yeah, mouse cat. Get 2 of them. Amazing. Imagine. Get a little bit of grip on the undersides. Get a bit of sandpaper on the arse. Here we go.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to New Sex Toy Review. Today's product is the Chloe 23-pound realistic automatic hip torso.
It's got a name. Look at Chloe. What do you make of Chloe, 42? Is that your cup of tea?
No, not quite.
No, something wrong. Something not quite right.
Yeah.
Look at the colour of its fanny. Have you been all riding, darling?
So, with sucking and vibration life-size ass by sexdolltorso.com. So this is the most complicated, high-tech doggy style ass I've ever seen. The details are amazing.
Look at the tube hanging out the top of it. Can you see that? That's what you want in a bum fanny, isn't it? Good Lord.
Has a lot of unique features. It's pretty awesome. So this thing is huge.
42, did you hear him? Then he went, and then he stopped. And what was he going to say? Then, hang on, listen to him. He goes, and then he realizes it's probably not good to say been using this for 2 weeks now. Yes, John, I noticed that. I take it he dresses up as a monkey to, you know, keep his identity anonymous.
It's pretty awesome. So this thing is huge.
He said, it's pretty awesome. It's not awesome. It's vulgar.
Thing is life size. So can you see the size of my hand? This is a life size doggy style ass. It has amazing detail work. You can see the muscle. You can see the.
It has amazing detail. Yeah, the lack of legs and arms and head.
Yeah, but its legs fell off.
It's quite. There you go. Quite hard to overlook that slight lack of detail. Oh my God. Someone told me the other day in the chat, well, they didn't tell me, they were telling the chat. I think it was when I was talking about, oh yeah, no, it was in the comments to that little clip, that sex doll clip I made, when I was talking about, you know, when you get your un petit mort and you feel a bit grotty after one off the wrist. And someone said that they never felt so bad after using that fleshlight. Is it like that? It's like a torch with a mouth fanny on it. And you just
yeah, I've seen things like that, but my issue is more, how come a girlfriend, a girl with a vibrator dildo is edgy, fun, whatever, and that's total degeneracy? I don't get the double standard.
Yeah, and you know, I tell you what, if you get a lifelike doll and you bang it and you enjoy it, I don't give a shit. But that is the interesting point. When the bird at the party gets out her dildo, everyone's cheering and she's going up to blokes and it's going around their mouth and that. There's nothing. But if you had a dinner party at your house, you'll be making sure your bum fanny did not see the light of day. You know, it wouldn't. You know, I get your point there. It's an interesting.
Oh, the other thing is, whenever the full latex dolls come out, which was a big move forward with this, and the talk about the robotics one, you had a lot of women saying it's not going to cook, it's not going to clean. And people were saying it took fucking sex dolls to get you to want the cooker clean.
I mean, I think in my lifetime there will be convincing humanoid sex dolls, because they don't actually have to do much. When I saw those adverts that I got those clips out of, it was like, you know, Linda's got over 10,000 jokes. She can talk philosophy. I was thinking, why? It's a fucking sex doll. Why are you giving it all that baggage? I don't want any of it.
Well,
hi, what do you make of Socrates? Okay, can we fuck now?
if you believe that we are sooner or later going to get this stage where we have androgynous robots that can stand, walk, talk, do jobs, all that sort of stuff, how you get people to accept, how you get the male half of the society to accept them without feeling threatening, is you make them female and go, yeah, but you can also fuck them.
You've lost me. You've lost me.
Right. If we get this stage where we're going to have robots that are good enough to take over manual jobs, that are going to be able to, the beginning of the robotic takeover and the doing away with working people. How you get?
I mean, we're already a fair way down that line, aren't we? I mean, cars are made by robots, aren't they? That's just a fact now.
Yeah, well, whenever you take us to the next stage where these robots can walk about freely and they don't bump into things and they can do stuff.
I'd find it a bit more sexy if it bumped into things, to be honest with you. So just carry on.
Yeah, but I think they're pushing the sex element of it because it has an automatic selling point, whereby or an acceptability to men.
You're right, actually. I've said this before. The idea that sex sells isn't true. Sexuality can attract eyes, which is always good for advertising. What sells is connection, which is why that bum fanny has actually got a name. You know, things like that. And which is why when they show you these dolls, they say she's got jokes. She can talk philosophy, because if they were outright just said it's just the thing, it's just a sex doll, it doesn't have the same attraction, because I don't want to fuck a sex doll because I fuck sex dolls, but they just happen to be women. The problem with the man who can't get women, he wants a bit of intimacy. That's the actual need. He wants a doll that he can actually talk to, I mean, if I'm going to pay for a sex doll, the first thing I'm going to pay for is it not talking.
Well, no, what they're actually paying for is for it to be available to them 24/7. Right? Because bear with me on this one, right? So one of the big issues that men have is divorce, losing half their shit. And one of the ways around that is to outsource sex to a financial transaction whereby you turn up, you pay, you fuck, you go home, and that's it, done. Your risk has disappeared. But you can't obviously buy a person 24/7. That would be wrong. But you can buy a doll that's going to be available to you 24/7.
Well, weirdly, in this part of the world, you can. Well, in England, you can. It's just very expensive. You can get the girlfriend experience for about a week, but you've got to be pretty well off, you know. So I see what you're saying. I mean, a one-off payment of like 10 grand for a fully functioning sex doll.
Right. They've done the math on this. Once a month with a prostitute is cheaper than marriage. Way cheaper. even twice.
Girlfriend.
Right. Yeah. Even twice a month. Right. Bump. Twice a month. Go do your thing. That works out cheaper than a girlfriend. Cheaper than a wife. Particularly whenever you factor in things like a percentage of your earnings going forward at the dissolution of the relationship, right? So at this point, what you're looking at is cost benefit value for money. Now, you can't have that with a real life human woman. Affordable, but the one-off payment to have this available to you is affordable. And every time there's a step forward with the production of these dolls, you have another slice of men that go, fuck that, that's the direction I'm going.
You know, I'll tell you what, when I first got ChatGPT, you know, I know what ChatGPT is, I know how it works, but I was losing 2 or 3 hours a night arguing with it. Like a friend, you know, I was sort of arguing about communism or whatever. And I told my business partner, because obviously we're using AI in our business because you have to now. Like today I done about 5. What would have taken me 5 hours in about 3 minutes. And you know, I've got ChatGPT 4 now, which is the next one up. And you know, when you get it to do a bit of content marketing, you say to it, you don't only tell it what to write about, but you say, optimize keywords for search engine optimization and Google snippets. And it knows what that means and it knows how to do it. And you do need to know what that sort of thing is to be able to use it. Because if you don't, how do you know if it's done it? But anyway, I said to my business partner, I said, I'll tell you what, I've been losing hours just chatting with ChatGPT. And he said, oh, mate, he said, the research is in. He said, it's a real problem. It's a real problem that people are now already, you know, ChatGPT, there's no face. It doesn't have a name. You know, it's not like Chloe or John or anything. And already people are using it to fulfill their need for conversation.
There was an app that was like AI, and you talked to it like a friend, but then there was a possibility of it to become flirty, and somebody took issue and umbrage with that, and they took away the ability for it to become flirty and sexual, and people lost their fucking minds
because they lost their temporary girlfriends.
Yes.
I mean, I had a look at that Replica. Did you watch that stream? There's a thing called, someone told me, have you seen Replica? And you make a girl, you tell her, you know, the haircut and all that, and it has a personality.
It was, this was also, it wasn't just men losing their girlfriends. It was women losing their boyfriends.
Wow.
That thing went both ways. It turns out that the need for artificial friendship goes both sexes.
Well, it's not even it's not artificial for a start. That's the scary thing. But as a barometer of an unhealthy society, it's, you know, there's plenty of people in the world. Why don't you go and talk to some?
Yeah, we have lost the ability to connect.
Well, it's all the stuff we were talking about earlier. It's all that fear. It's all that the fear of going outside. You know, you could die of this. This is going to happen. That's going to happen. Oh, you know, no, just sit at home. You know, you can get food delivered. You don't need to go to restaurants.
Yeah.
I quickly stopped doing that. I sat myself down and said, this is something for work. It's not a human. You know, I could have spent that 2 hours talking to a mate. You know, I've got good friends who are like, come on, mate, we haven't had a chat in ages. I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking busy. And I was like, what, talking to Chat GPT about communism? But what is kind of seductive about it is how much it knows. That's the problem. You know, I mean, I was talking to Chat GPT the other day about Derrida, and what was really, really weird. I don't know if you know this, but English doesn't actually have a future tense in writing. We use auxiliary verbs like will or would to, you know, I will go out. There's no, the verb doesn't actually change to be a future tense. But I asked it, I was getting right into Rousseau's, I think I put it on Twitter, I was getting right into Rousseau's essay on the origin of languages and how the idea of an origin is a linguistic idea. Therefore, to find the origin of languages is a contradiction, because without the language, you can't think about origins unless you've got the word for it, the concept, and so you can't blah 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 blah. And I'm trying to catch ChatGPT out, really, and then I said, well, what about Derrida and blah 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 blah, and I can't remember how it done it. Oh yeah, it said, this is what I don't know if this will be of interest to people. Actually, I've sort of gone off on a tangent, but ChatGPT said about an essay that Derrida's already written. It said that Derrida would likely say blah, 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 blah. And I thought, hang on a minute, you've got this information, or you wouldn't know that. But why have you put it? I can't think what it's
yeah. It's moved it from what he said to it's given their opinion on what they think Derrida's opinion is.
But it knows it because it was right. But why it didn't say Derrida says, why it said he would likely say, because he has said it. I know he has, because I've read it. And I'll tell you what, I was, you know the way Midjourney works. I was trying to explain this to a friend the other night. And this is why I realised ChatGPT's like this. Imagine getting a bit of transparent paper and drawing a shape on it, like an irregular polygon, and then getting another bit of transparent paper and drawing another irregular polygon on it and putting it on top. Do that about 100 times, you're going to get a dominant shape start coming out. That's pretty much how AI works when it's got a data set. Like when you say to Midjourney, like I wanted to draw a picture for an ex-girlfriend the other day. She went to see Morrissey in concert, and we were talking that when she was 15, Viva Hate come out. And so I tried to get Midjourney to draw a picture of a 15-year-old Smiths fan. And you can actually watch Midjourney building up these layers, and that's what it will do. It will scan its data set for, you know, I had to put a few other things, like a 15-year-old girl who's into the Smiths, likes Morrissey, bought Viva Hey and other indie music, you know, giving it a few more different things that would sort of, you know, be more like an image of this girl. And that's what it does. It picks up transparent. It doesn't do that, obviously. But what I mean is it will find something in its data set. Oh, here's an article that says Rough Trade Records sold out. Here's Claire who bought Viva Hey. And there's a picture of Claire. So that's the first transparency with this Claire on it. And then it will keep laying all these layers over it. And at a certain point, an image, a dominant image that is kind of like a, you know, like a, what's the word? A dominant image of all of those transparencies will sort of make itself sort of come out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like a collage type thing.
There you go. But through transparencies, multiple layers, and then I'm not explaining myself. There'll be things in all of them that are in all of them. So they're the bits that are going to show through. Oh, okay. So most Smiths fans will have hair over their face.
So if all the images had a study ring in the left ear, the study ring in the left ear would become more prominent.
There you go. And there'd be a stud in the left ear. Exactly that. But it is a really interesting time when it says would likely say. I just thought, why has it done that?
That's quite a politician's terminology.
Yeah.
You
totally non-committal.
Yeah, you gotta.
It's a confusing way of saying might.
Yeah, you ask a politician, somebody in the political world, about somebody else's opinion, and they'll go, they would likely say. So they've gotten out.
It's a fair point. I mean, you know, ChatGTP now actually has a warning on it saying, it doesn't say it lies, but it does say it gets things wrong. And that in the AI world, they're called, I can't remember if they're called dreams or there's another word.
Well, there's an easy explanation for that. It's gaining its information.
What is it? Hang on, sorry. Maybe someone in the chat knows. I'll remember in a minute. Sorry, go on, 42.
There's an easy explanation for that. It gets its information off the internet, and there's a lot of bullshit presented as fact, especially if you look into Wikipedia or something like that. There you go. Wicked hallucinations. Yeah, they call them hallucinations when it gets it wrong. But thank you, 22H. Are you new here, 22H? That seems an unfamiliar name, but that's brilliant. There's I think it was Grego. Black Pigeon Pill said, May, it's just predicting programming, the coming together of two contemporary lunacies. But I don't know, it's very interesting. The speed it's moving is mind-blowing as well. Anyway, 42, I'm going to try and get one more guest on. It's gone 2 in the morning. Lovely to talk to you, as always. And we'll get this stream sorted out, just me and you, for a couple of weeks' time, shall we? Not a problem. I'll fire you off an email. Thanks very much for having me on. As always absolute pleasure. Ta-da! Right, bye. Right, I'm going to do some super chats before we get someone else on. Feel free to donate. Anglo-Saxon, I already read that one out, but there's never a problem with doing it twice. Kicking off the grift, thank you very much. Keys to the Kingdom. Times are changing faster than I can keep up, without a doubt, without a doubt. Nice one, mate. Rollo says, I went to Turkey when single. Crap, big mistake. What am I not getting there? Oh, yeah, I get it, because we were talking about going out as in twos. There you go. Good call, Rollo. Misses me in it. Right. I am annoyed, and the only way you will listen is to throw cash. I got cancelled for an innocent post about life as a woman. Who is the secret moderator? What, on this channel? I can't see that.
I mean, the only moderators are Rags, who's never going to do that to you, Steve, who's never going to do that to you, and me, and I'm never going to do that to you. What, on this stream? Sometimes what happens, and this is on me, hang on, what actually happened? You don't have to pay anymore. I'll look in the normal chat, but what, you got deleted or you got timed out? Because sometimes that happens by accident. I see it on plenty of YouTube streams. Sometimes you click to show a message, but if you're like a couple of millimeters out, it opens up a box, but by the time that box has opened, someone else has written a message. It all shunts up, and you click, put user in timeout. It happens quite a lot, so that might have happened. But there's no secret moderators on this stream, I promise you, unless Rags and Steve can make people moderators. But even if they could, I can't see them doing that without asking me. And you'd be able to see them because they'd have the spanner and that. So if you're talking about this stream, Mrs. Minute, the only thing I can suggest is it was probably an accident on my part. But no one's going to cancel you. You're Mrs. Minute, for Christ's sake. But apologies that you felt bad and you felt you had to pay to get that through. I'm sorry. There's 100 people here. It's hard keeping up with all the chat. And then the husband says, yeah. See, difference between men and women right there, people. Thank you, Mouse Cat. Dawn Browning. Good morning, you lovelies. YouTube Super Trooper chat has had a sliding scale upgraded. Mate, mostly means good on you in Oz. Go figure. Yeah, in England, that's what you say when you see something you haven't seen, you're like, mate. YouTube Super Trooper chat as a sliding. Yeah, I got an email and it's something like, the more money you pay, the longer your super chat stays at the top of the chats. The reason I didn't tell that to the scrubs was because I thought it was a bit insulting. Oh, if you give more, you get to stay up yeah. I mean, YouTube are very weird with these things. You can incentivize people to give you, that is them, more money by it stays up. Oh, yeah, that's why I didn't mention it. But is that what you're talking about, Dawn? I imagine. 22H is on the firm. Nice one. So 22H, are you if you know about hallucinations, that's a very small I can't even think anymore. It's been such a heavy 2 weeks. The reason Horace and Gavin spoke most of yesterday is because I was half asleep. A very slim section of the population has got as far as knowing that AI mistakes are known as hallucinations. I wonder if you're into all that. It'd be interesting if you come on for a chat if you are. Nice one for joining the firm, though. And that is all the super chats, which is really depressing. But I appreciate all of those. Let me see. I will check entropy, which doesn't seem to be working. I'll just refresh it. I think they've got rid of their poll and another thing. Oh, yeah, I've been talking to the people who run StreamYard today and the people who run entropy. I'm trying to get them together so that entropy donations can go on the screen without me using OBS. Right, 22H says it is a very small, yeah, I didn't get to the end, did I? Section of the population is what I meant. Slither of the population. You're a software engineer. There you go. So do you understand what I'm saying about the transparencies? I mean, obviously, I know there's not a computer somewhere putting transparencies down, like negatives. But that is a good way of explaining it, isn't it? You know, you're going to get a dominant image, and that sort of works with ideas as well, concepts with ChatGPT. All Seeing Otto says, I hate it when English people use the term guys now. Yeah, I'm not a fan. And my missus always takes a piss out of YouTube by going, hi guys. And when she just come in once and went, hi guys. I went, what the fuck is that? She went, it's Barang YouTubers. She went, women always like, hi guys. I've got this bit of software that corrects my emails for punctuation because I'm usually not caring when I'm writing work emails. And every time I write bloke or geezer, it corrects it. It suggests guys every time. As if I'd say that, oh, I met a couple of guys out the other night. No, I didn't. If I met a couple of guys, I wouldn't admit it to anyone. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Because I'm not a software engineer, but it seemed to make sense. Mrs. Me in it. I want to know what she's talking about. Quadders is on the firm, enjoying the stream, lurking. I watched an AI simulator where a guy goes around asking AI characters about life, etc. All the comments are about God and Jesus. Well, I imagine the AI that he was talking to was given a God and Jesus data set. And so that's going to happen. Do you remember when YouTube community admin actually caught me out? It was so embarrassing. Anyone want to go to a rack show? Is that rack? Southampton, bring very loud earplugs. There's a rack show in Southampton, people, on Sunday. This is the part of the stream where we talk about local things. Mrs. Me in it, I want to know what your problem was. I don't get it. Oh, I thought that was some kind of slang. Blokes is an all right one, though, isn't it? Shouldn't be changed to guys. John Palmer says, what does it correct gays to? You know what? It's funny you say that. I had a mate, and he was a gay. Well, he still is a gay, but he went to one of those pray the gay away things in America just for the entertainment. I mean, he's a multi-millionaire, the fella I'm talking about. But he just went to see what they do and how it works. And he said to me afterwards, I said, go on, I'm exceptionally excited to find out. George?
Oi, mate, how's life?
George's on the firm. Let me just finish this gay story. And I said, so what happened? He said, it's just 2 weeks of them telling you you're not gay and then standard Bible classes. That's an amazing grift. Oh, talking about grifts, low-key, bosh. This sex doll thing is directly feminist's fault. Yeah, but if it was a feminist or a sex doll, you know. How are you, George?
Mate, I'm alive and I'm well, and I'm even better for hearing
George,
you. How are you?
Mate, it's May.
Mate, how's things? How's life? How's the world treating you?
Well, I've been very busy with work, and I made the mistake / good decision to learn Khmer because it's only an hour a week, but it isn't because you've got to revise. And I've found out that if I don't revise 3-4 hours in between lessons, I'm not getting so much out of the next lesson.
Yeah.
I'm back weightlifting again. You know, I don't do a lot, but again, over a week, that's probably 3 or 4 hours. So nice. I'm just really busy. And there's, you know, I've got, my editor says I've got to get my novel finished by November. And otherwise, he's not going to finish it. He's the editor. And so he's going to
got deadline,
edit it, proofread it, and then that's it. But unless I get it to him in a state where I'm happy for him to do the final cut, which I need really, because 7 years is kind of pushing it.
Yeah, no joke. But he's lifting weights, he's writing, he's learning.
Yeah, then there's the Substack thing, which is pumping out short stories, which, you know, they don't take that long, but the time they don't take long to write, but they take a while to think about. So
yeah.
You know, I'm going to bed at 5-6 o'clock in the morning, getting up at midday, and I'm fucking.
But you seem just like a machine, like just a productive machine. It's good though. It's good.
Just love life. So I just want to do things.
So I'm here on a bit of I have like it's not like a sneaky agenda, but I have a secret agenda.
You can have anything you want. Bring an agenda.
Do you have Telegram?
Yes.
I've been tasked with inviting you to a group on Telegram for extraordinary individuals.
Oh, really?
Now, it's a bit of a closed, like, obviously, I would appreciate it if you didn't share the link anywhere else. I'll just leave the link in the back chat. There's some characters in there. How do I put this? An invitation is not necessarily an endorsement, but there's some characters.
By my missus. Just give me a second.
Yeah.
Hello, you absolutely beautiful, lovely barrel of fun. You know what I'm doing, don't you? YouTube.
She's adorable, isn't she?
I'm sorry, darling. How you feeling? Me too. Look, can you hear it? Same as you. Did you hear that? See?
Okay, good day. Bye-bye. I love you. Good luck for video.
Bonfräulein on clang.
Bonfräulein Bon.
Clang. All right, love. Bye. Som dos Fräulein. Som dos Fräulein. Bye, love. Me and her have got the same illness. We've both got some kind of throat thing. Anyway, take me back to your Illuminati kind of
The
thing.
Illuminati party. Bro, basically, I just want to clarify before I send this that the link itself, like the people in there, are not all on the same page in any respect, other than they're all interesting individuals who I thought.
Hang on. And who's decided that? Is there a boss of?
You know what? That's actually a really interesting. I think there might be like more of a high council of people. Just to give you an example, like Milo Yiannopoulos is in there, Ethan Ralph is in there. There's just a bunch of people who just like. But I'm giving you a heads up so that when you go in there, you don't think it's actually part of some kind of. It's more just a space, like a neutral space where people can just So I'm inviting you to this thing. Is basically what I'm saying. If you've got time and you can be bothered, join
I
it.
will certainly have a look. Let me tell you, that's very kind of you. I will certainly have a look. Someone wrote to me and said, will you record a video for my brother's birthday? He really likes your channel. He said, I'll give you a couple of £100.
Like a cameo type thing, yeah.
Cameo wrote to me, they want me to go on there. They must be, yeah. I've got the email, I could show you it. I mean, they must be failing miserably if they want me on there. I mean, how much am I going to charge to make hey, this is Chris Dangerfield.
Depends what it
is. Send me some bread. But this bloke said, I'll give you a couple of £100 or something. And so I made I wrote a song for this bloke's birthday. Not happy birthday either. Made the video, uploaded it, kept it private, and I wrote to him and said, is this the sort of thing you want? Never heard from him again. I think he just done like an OBS screen grab of it. Said, look, I've got Chris Dangerfield to write you a thing. Happy birthday song.
You've been completely played there. That's
I mean, he could have said, I would have done it for nothing, really. Happy birthday. Yeah, sure. It's 10 minutes. But it's a weird thing to sacrifice. He obviously watched the streams. Maybe he still watches them, but he can't talk anymore because he's a bloke who never comes back.
That's pretty embarrassing, isn't it? Yeah.
I did have some bloke come over here the other week, though, and give me £400 to record a podcast with him and a few mates, and they were all off for their heads, and it was madness.
Nice.
It was madness. Afterwards, he said, to be honest with you, I thought it would be a bit more funny. And I said, well, you were asking me questions like, have I ever analysed anyone or been analysed for drugs? You did ask me about feminism, and you've got a feminist here. You did ask me whether addiction is a choice, and then brought in your brother who's covered in face tattoos, who was going, I'm fucking 15 months clean, you cunt. They were nice blokes, but it was a very strange situation.
Yo, is there a link to this? Can I watch this somewhere?
They might. I don't know if they've got a video there. I mean, they might have if they come at it at the right angle. Like, they're trying to make a YouTube channel, and they wanted me to be their first guest. all lovely, and it's a lovely thing to be asked, really.
Yeah.
And it was good fun. I had a nice laugh with them, but I think the only way they're going to be able to get a video out of it is if they say, yeah, we're still learning because look at this. It was quite aggressive because he kept filling up my mug with whiskey. And at first I said, I don't really drink, and I don't know if it will lend itself to a podcast. It was like, dunk, 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 dunk.
Yeah.
And so I was very quickly very pissed. But yeah, I'm sure if it does go up, he'll send me a link. I mean, nice bloke, but weird night. I was just giving you a couple of examples. So I am
I got you.
A little bit dubious about these things. But yes, email me the link. All
right, perfect. That's a good idea.
Yeah, Chris at
chris@chrisdangerfield.com. All right. Oh yeah, I'll ping you over the link now. But yeah, other than that, that was it. That was all I wanted to say.
Do I have to get a weird tattoo or handshake or anything?
No, not at all. There is like an initiation ritual, but you're fine with goat's blood and all that. You're not squeamish, so that's all good. No problems there, mate. Well, it's literally just a Telegram group. That's all it is. But we want you in there for the lols.
I will, for sure. I ate my first raw octopus in Vietnam, and that was I don't know why I told you that. It seemed when you said initiation. I'll tell you what, it's not like the little baby ones.
That sounds fucking disgusting. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it was. Horrible. It was a slab of arm with suckers on it. It looked like the thing your nan has in the bath to stop her breaking her neck, but pink. All right. Well, I look forward to see you in the Telegram House of Horrors soon.
All right, lovely. I love you. Bye. I'll see you later.
Bye. Jill done all right then, didn't he? He invited me into a secret society. I don't know what's going to happen. Right, people, it's 2:30 in the morning. My voice is failing on me. I'm going to play a bit of household, I think. Thanks to everyone who donated. Thanks to everyone who come on and chatted, because that's what makes a call-in show. And most of all, thanks to everyone who came in and watched the stream. It's been a bit of a relaxed one, but we've had some interesting chats. When you can go from bum fannies to secret societies to Packers care home and Manan's teeth, you're doing something right, for sure. Anyway, look after yourselves, mate. What am I going to play? I'm going to play that one because that's the one everyone likes. I say everyone. Look after yourselves, people. I'm sorry I'm dipping out a little bit early, but I am shattered. I can't. When George was talking, I was hearing all sorts of voices. I'm not sure if that's mentally stable or not. Take care. What day is it? Is it Friday night? Please tell me it's Friday night. Oh, it is. Well, it's Saturday morning here, but that's lovely. That's the whole weekend writing. I got a migraine last weekend. I thought, right, whole weekend writing. But this weekend, the missus is in the provinces. So as long as I don't get a migraine tomorrow, I can get some writing done. I can get a Dragon's Den video done. I can lift some weights. I might stream tomorrow if I wake up a bit. I love the weekend. I've got 5 litres of yogurt in the fridge, 2 jars of honey, and a massive penis. We've got that far. Blogs! You're right, it is Pizzle. I'll tell you what, Piz, I'll drop Submarine in first because I like you. Mate, look after yourselves. I will be putting your messages on the screen, by which I mean your last minute guilted super chats because I can't afford to pay for my girlfriend's mum's dentistry. Did I tell you my girlfriend's mum had little tiny worms living under her tooth? Absolutely true story. She had this really bad pain in her mouth and she wouldn't go to the dentist, And, I support my whole girlfriend's family because my girlfriend used to support them through sex work. And when I wanted to have my girlfriend as my girlfriend, I had to say to her, I'll replace the money that you got paid. That's a fair deal. I can't expect her to stop that work and then her whole family live on nothing. But they don't like asking me for money. And they never do. You know, I find out like 3 weeks later that someone fell off the motorbike and has, you know, just been shivering for 3 weeks when all they actually needed was to go to the hospital and have a saline drip and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, in the end, I went to the provinces. I said, come on, you're going to the dentist. And she's like, oh, it might be $30. I was, okay. She's, wow, you know, and my missus said she'd had this bad tooth for like 2 months. Get up to the dentist, and the dentist sort of, the tooth's got loose, but he says it can be saved. Then he pulls out some worms, little black moving worms. And what it is because they drink water sometimes from the well had got infected, maybe a rat fell in there or something. And like a little larvae, something's gone down and laid its eggs in the dead rat. The larvae has grown and was laid eggs under a tooth. And it was all right until they came out as little worms. The dentist had them in his hand like that. He went, look, there was like 3 or 4 of the little fuckers. And I was thinking, there's some hideous things can happen in life, innit? Anglo's well travelled to Thailand. That is for people who don't. Oh, good call, Anglo. For people who don't know, your grandmother's sick buffalo is a classic Thai. Give me money. So you go to Thailand, you go to your first ever girly bar. All your mates have said, don't fall in love with the first brass you meet. And then everyone falls in love with the first brass they meet because the brass out there are fantastic at their jobs. And then a week later, suddenly she's not so happy. And all week she's given you a new joie de vivre. She's put a spring in your step. And one day she's like that with a little tear, like that painting that you get in charity shops. And you go, hey, Tipipahawani, what's wrong? Oh, grandmama buffalo's sick. I've heard it so many times. I've even said it to girls. I've preempted them. You all right? What's up? Grandmother's buffalo's sick. And they go, huh? You go, yeah, I've been coming out here 20 years, love. You're going to have to do better than that. And they open their mouth. I go, motorbike accident? And they're like, yeah. I go and get someone else. That's a good call, Anglo. Well done, man. Thank you for that donation as well. And thank you, 22H, for joining. I'd like to talk to you if you'd come on here one time about, because you've got more information than I have regarding the old AI. Did Mrs. Me in it say what? Oh, Blogs did send me an entropy. He says this. Thank you, Bill, for the entropy. He says, what is more degrading, stirring your own putrid porridge in the dole or stirring some other guy's fresh stuff? If you simp enough, you're lucky and it's Marx's birthday, like Destiny, for example. So what the niggler is asking... no, you've just got to listen to people who know how it works, Otto. Mate, please, I beg you, you know, once I know a fair amount about your situation. Just come out here for an holiday. I reckon you'll go, and for the first time in what seems like a long time, you'll have a laugh. I guarantee, if you come out to Bodia, I guarantee I'll give you a few days that you will never forget. I promise you, because I want you to have it. I want you to enjoy life. So, you know, I'm there. Of course, there's a lot of people out here, like there are anywhere, trying to swizz you. But I've never been swizzed by a brass because you listen to people, didn't you? Blogs is saying, because I've done that little clip about the people who use sex dolls, because of the petit mort, they don't clean them. But when they next want to use it, they can't be bothered to clean it beforehand. So they're going into their 3 days old dark grey mold. And Bill's suggesting is it better? But the thing is, he's saying, is it better to be digging your own old porridge than a real lady and someone else's fresh porridge? And he mentioned it could be Marx's birthday. He's saying it's a very encrypted message, so it could be you might be pumping around in some lefties, Harry Monk. The thing is, though, Bill, that women clean themselves, so you'd like to think that they'd clean themselves. That would be my answer. What a terrible ending to the stream. He's not called the Niggler for nothing, is he? Hello, Baz. How are you, son? Blog said, I sent you an entropy. I was going to post it on the sex doll clip. Sort of relevant to both. Are you all right, Bill? I got it. Yeah, there are plenty of worms in the body. Harry from Truck UK, he reckons that everyone should take deworming tablets. He said most Western European people are full of them. Good Lord. I mean, if people in Western Europe are full of them, out here it must be like a fucking zoo down there. Like a snake zoo. Mrs. Me, and it did. Now I've got to try and find that. Where is it? Let's find out what happened to Mrs. Me in it. She's talking about puking, having some fish stew in Vienna. That's not what she got banned for. She's telling Rag she's not a feminist. Hello, Lartus. Someone died. Henry knows Jamie. Jamie. Good Lord. Nearly killed me twice, that bloke. I'm not going to read that out. I've got to say, though, Dawn, Ethan Ralph was given 10 grand to leave BitChute and join Rumble. He joined Rumble. The owner of Rumble told him that they speak to Moloch, and that's why Rumble's doing so well. And Ethan replied to him sort of like nervously, like, okay. And the Rumble bloke got back to him and went, no, I'm serious. We speak to Moloch. And then, Ethan actually apologized to Ray. He said, listen, I'm sorry I'm going to leave BitChute, but 10 bags of sand is 10 bags of sand. And then when the money ran out, he went back to BitChute. Imagine. They are low-key, I'll give you that. I hope that's what I think it was about. Where is Mrs. Me in it? Can you write it again, Mrs. Me in it? Because I'm going miles back now, and people were just arriving thinking this is the grimmest, never mind the Molochs, the grimmest of streams ever. Go on, give it another go. Well, it's funny you say that, actually, Dawn, because anyone who's doing cocaine, I tell you now, if you like cocaine, and a lot of people do, it is cut at source, all of it, with levacimol. Levacimol is an animal wormer, and it does evil things to the human body. If you don't have to take my word for it. Just check. Just go on any search engine and type in cocaine animal wormer. Now, when we were buying it, you'd wash it up to test how much of it was base. You just make crack out of it and weigh it off afterwards, and whatever's gone down, that's not the base. But my people who I don't have anything to do with cocaine anymore, but I'm still friends with them, and they're saying that it's all cut at source now. It didn't used to be. Bolivian, Peruvian cocaine was cut here, but they got wind of it about 15 years ago, and they started cutting it at source. But that levacimol is what's killing people. Ooh, it's evil stuff. Hello, Alan. Right, let's see what Mrs. Meehan has got to say. No, she hasn't. It's horrible stuff, cocaine. It's absolutely awful. It ruins parties. It ruins people. I've said it so many times. It gives people with nothing to talk about and no confidence the feeling that they've got something to talk about and confidence, which, if you think about it, is the worst thing that they could have, because they just come over to you and go, yeah, I've got like a car and I painted it red, yeah, but it was really nice red, and you haven't seen a red like it. And I tell you what, I'm gonna, because I've got friends and things, and you're just like, great, that's great. Have you got a fucking cocaine polo sticking out the end of your nose? Go on, fuck off. Right, here we go. Graham Childs, nice one. Thanks for the stream, Chris. You're all right, Graham. It's a pleasure. Right, here we go. Finally, Dangerfield. It was a while back, and I got cancelled. Then lost sound. Can't remember what I was cryptically wibbling about now, but I was innocent. Okay. Point. Bad point, badly made. People, Mrs. Me in it is innocent. Don't forget it, okay? She's innocent where? Hom and Coke. I don't know what Hom is. That's lost me. Never liked Coke. I mean, I jack it occasionally because it fucking works when you spike it. But it's an horrible thing. Ah, there you go. There you go. All right. That makes a bit more sense, Alan. I was thinking, what? Samo and the Grange Hill Choir. I still know the lyrics to that song. I remember the rap in the middle, which the mixed race bloke done. Well, why wouldn't he? What is it? Don't listen to anyone else. All you got to do is be yourself. You got everything to live for. And then it goes the amen break on the Grange Hill song. The amen break. What was it made you do it? You had no need. First a taste, then a flavor, then it turned to greed. Calling me a main man, but you didn't understand. Then you expected me to shake your hand. No, don't listen to anyone else. All you got to do is be yourself. Well, thank God for Zamo and the Grange Hill Choir. I used to love Grange Hill, though. I really did. I mean, you know, what was it? 4:30, and they had Zamo dying of heroin. And then what was that other lad? They had another smack death on there, didn't they? Danny Kendall. And they had the graffiti wall that Danny Kendall invented, where you could just write anything. And someone put Danny Kendall chased the dragon and got burnt. Yeah. I used to love it. That or Monkey. It was Grange Hill or Monkey. If I got home and Blue Peter was on, no, I don't come home to get more schooling. No way. Unless, of course, Janet Ellis was on. And then it'd be up to my bedroom, black and white telly on, and down the trousers, let's go, Janet. I think that's enough of that. That's still making me laugh, I'll be honest with you. Knowing that's brilliant, Anglo. Right, here we go. A bit of Musako. I'll play a little small tune dedicated to my mate Pizzle, who's having a bit of a time at the moment. And then I'll play New Shoes. Here we go. Let me know you can hear it. Boosh!
Good luck to me. Good luck to me. Here's my eyes. Here's my fatigue. It's going light. Submarine. Get me a drink. Get me some green. I wanna enjoy the sun no matter money.
I always fancy that, John. And then Pizzle says that.
How we getting back?
Yep.
I don't know where we've been. If you got that cat fare, I'll break into the speed. Good luck to luck, and good luck to them. I couldn't give up monkeys, fuck if I never saw them again. They're going it's going submarine.
people, I mean, it's a question it's been on the lips of all the scrubs for some time now, but who does love who more? Does Emma G love 42 more, or does 42 love Emma G more? Or is it just an endlessly deferred love explosion?
I'm stupid, I'm lazy, but in the discotheque I still look crazy. Love me, baby, I only tell lies cause the truth escapes.
That's one Anglo preaching
We can get new shoes, I'll have brown and you can get the blue.
Point to you, Alan. I hope your arm's feeling better, mate. Yeah, have a cracking weekend, all of you. Don't forget, one weekend every week. Make something happen.
I'm knackered, I'm fading, but in the right light I still look vaguely human. Happy, it won't be long before we cave in.
I might do the out of it stream tomorrow, actually. Nice easy one. Yeah, I think I will. If I think I'll do the out of it. Good Lord, it's 3 hours.
You can get the don't worry about my heroin addiction. It's on the slide. I need you. Love me, and I feel the same again tonight. Summertime, we can get new shoes. I'll have brown and you can get that blue. You can get that blue. You can get that blue. You can get that blue.
Hello, Billy. Good to hear, Alan. Good to hear, mate. Right, I've really got to do nothing for at least an hour. I just really love being alive. There's so much you can do and so many things that are excellent. I know life is a struggle. I have a lot of scrubs write to me and say things like, not everyone's like you, not everyone, blah, blah, blah. I am quite an open book, but I do have a private life, and I do have struggles in my life. I just don't share them all with you because it wouldn't be that entertaining. Some of them I do, obviously, but that's all right. You put up with that. You got your body, you got your mind, you got abilities, you got desires and hopes and dreams, and I fucking love it. I really love it, and that's it. And you should too. Well, I think so anyway. Hoi! The size of that. That's why you lift weights, boys. Ta-ta.